is the literal flat Earth map. Not the Gleason's map. The Gleason's map is flowed. That's a reference to the Dodo.
Yeah.
So yeah, the literal, it's in scale and in proportion. The Dodo itself is the flat Earth map. That's ultimately the significance of the Dodo. And if you've confined, and I've found the continents as well, and would you believe that they're underneath the WT, I talked about this yesterday, underneath the WTC Center, 9/11. There you have in the subway what's called the oculus. Anyone is free to type that in, and you have what I take it to be an accurate inter-sort relationship in sort of scale and shape-wise of the different continental, what we call land masses, but in actual fact, it's not. Earth is all one land mass, but there has been an inundation, a flood, this biblical flood, as they like to take us back to false time, which is 2,000, 4,000 years ago. It's everything, as Martin Liedtke is finding out more and more.
Hold on a minute.
The whole of history is altered.
Hold on a minute, Pete. That's good. That's good. Right, Nathan. Yes. How do you think of that explanation?
I'm still not. I mean, you progressed it a little bit because you gave that little bit at the end, which is to say that all of the land masses were one. And I've certainly seen back in the days that I was on the ball, science programs where they explain how the continents moved apart and all the rest of it. We all know the stories, but that was the only thing that I got from that, really. That you're saying that the Dodo suggests that all the land masses were connected, but that I kind of thought that anyway, based on some of the science of old that I was brainwashed with. So I'm still none the wiser. It looks like a Dodo. That's that bit I get. But what are the...
So in order to, again, it goes beyond this, but I've spoken about 50 Hangouts on it, Nathan. Pretty much every Hangout I've dealt with some aspect of it. So, I mean, for you to come along and say you don't get what I'm trying to say is understandable as well. It's very difficult to sum it all up. What I like to say is the Dodo was discovered in 1598. So the Dodo represents the face of the flat Earth post-inundation. So it's a map of the Earth. And within the Dodo, with the proportionate and appropriately scaled continental masses, if you knew them, of course, there's many different variations. Sometimes we all know about the projection maps in Greenland, and Africa have been similar in size as opposed to being 1 to 14 or something like that. So to get the most accurate, because remember, there's an island has a fixed area, fixed shape. So if the Earth is flat and stationary, it can all be laid out in a certain form and fixed fashion. This is what the Dodo represents. If you get the continental shapes correctly scaled, then you actually literally combine them with the official version of the Dodo, which is now in Oxford Museum, painted in 2012, and you will have an accurate scaled map of the Earth. That's the significance of the Dodo.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but it's almost like you're giving a pitch for the Dodo to be a flat Earth mascot. That's that's what I'm hearing. I don't see the relevance. It's like, are you saying that dodos never existed and it's just the truth hidden in plain sight to laugh at us? I mean, I don't understand the implications. I don't understand the reasoning. I know you're saying I've done 50 shows I should have watched, but I haven't. I'm sorry.
Okay,
that's true. That's true.
That's fair enough. But you might say to yourself, maybe I should look a bit more into this. But I mean, if I'm not trying to sell it to anybody, and as I said, because it's so extensive in terms of its scope, I tried to cut it down briefly as possible there. I thought it did an okay job, really, so it is literally, as opposed to the Gleason's map, the Dodo, official representation of the Dodo is actually the map, right? So you just have to find the correct continental sizes and then wrap them around in the appropriate manner. That's the idea.
So you're saying, okay, that's different then. So you're not saying it's representative of the map. You're saying they're hiding what is actually the land masses, which are in the shape of a dodo. Therefore, the AA map is kind of irrelevant. It just hints at the dodo, in your view.
Right. Yes. Exactly. And the thing is, though, once you get to the dodo, we've left the dodo behind. The dodo leads you on to elsewhere. The dodo helped me solve the 50-year-old Sergeant Pepper's puzzle, Nathan. And if you don't think there's a puzzle there, I mean, what can I say to you? If there is, and just type it in. Actually, I can post a link for you if you haven't seen it.
No, but I'm trying to decipher. You know, if your battle is to get the idea out that the map is actually in the shape of a dodo. Again, I want to get to the implications. You're saying, well, you go and research it, but nothing sparked a fire with me to think that the implications of it being a dodo, the map that is, are X. I literally don't see any.
That's fine, man. I mean, I'm not here to let you see.
No, you don't.
See something.
Sorry,
right?
I would have to say as well. That's
what I'm saying.
I don't think you've looked into it. Sorry, Pete. I don't think you've maybe looked into it quite enough, Nathan. And I'm not taking sides. Okay, not taking sides here. But what I'm saying is, you need to look into more of what Nathan is saying. Pete is saying, and. Well, both of us really, isn't it? Really, both of us. And the interpretation that I'm getting is when Pete has went on about his dodo, and you can see what his implications are. It's like I've looked at what it is, and I can see the correlations that he's finding. You know, I can see the correlations that he's finding. However, to try and get, I would have to say that the hardest thing about Pete is he deviates from it. He goes on to a tangent, and he will give you all the explanations of everything that ties in with it, which deviates so far away from the basic point that he was trying to tell you that you're lost. You're lost in what he's got to say. You know, he goes on so far that, and try to get him to stick to one point and just give me it in a clear emphasis. And if he gives you nice and clear, you maybe understand. But I find that Pete sort of, you tend to, you don't stick on this, you don't stick to exactly how to explain it. You take off and you deviate and you go further on and further on. And by doing that, you lose people again. So I think that's what Nathan's trying to get at. Nathan's trying to say, ask a question and come to it. And then we can start taking the tiny steps that you've already taken great leaps and you've got to where you think it is. But we're taking tiny steps to try to follow you along the way. So by doing that, you need to slow down a bit, and then we'll kind of get to you, and we'll interject when, hold on a minute, Pete, this bit here and this bit here, tell us more about this, rather than flying off and you go so far that we're lost. We kind of get lost.
Okay, and I appreciate that as well, Des. I really do. And well, all I can say to that is, and I've constantly reiterated the same thing as well. Each of us is on our own personal journey here. So this puzzle is still live, you know what I mean? So I've spoken about pretty much everything, and well, nothing seems to be getting picked up, and that's fine as well. I mean, I've discovered the Milky Way is on the middle eye between craters Eratosthenes and Eudoxus, and that's verifiable, 100%. It's there in the Hangout, but no one has picked up on it really, except a few people who've clarified it for themselves. Now, the implications of that are enormous, but I can't, because the puzzle is still live. I'm not going to dwell on that too much. I'll mention it, and I'll say you should just try to clarify this for yourself, and then try explaining, either in a ball earth sense, which they're completely hopeless, or especially in a flat earth sense. How can we explain that in a flat earth sense? You know what I mean? So we all know it's flat and stationary. I know the earth.
Yeah. We've got that. Okay. Cool. So let's get back to Nathan then and see, does that help you any better again, Nathan?
No, not really. Maybe you can give me a précis, Neeps. What do you like to go by the way?
Des. Sheeps and Neeps is a channel for the simple reason that we're all sheeps and we're all Neeps.
What's a Neep?
A Neep is okay. And up in Scotland, you fucking Neep. That's somebody that's just
like an Egypt,
just a fool. And they can come up with all types of scientific reasons or anything they want, but it's stupid. It's just like, you're off your head. So it's a Neep.
Okay.
But a Neep is also a turnip. Okay, so a turnip is something that's in the field that cows eat, and they break up the mash and all the rest of it. But a Neep, a turnip, a Swede, you've all got your scone and scone. So in Scotland, a Neep's a Neep, a turnip. So sheeps and neeps is for people are sheeps and people are neeps. And we're on here to discuss all this, you know, because we're all in a fucking field, and the farmers, we don't know who the fucking farmers are, you know. We're all sheep. So okay, back to, I have to go to the toilet, so I'll let you talk with Pete there, and see if you and Pete can come to some kind of agreement together on what's getting talked, and I'll go to the toilet and relieve myself.
Stick yourself on mute then, whatever you do.
I understand your impression absolutely, because I do the Hangouts, right? But it's not aimed at any audience in particular, but if people are following on, and I know some people are, well, then there's a logical and, well, I'm going to say an amazing sort of process uncovered, because it's all there before us in plain vision, as I said earlier on, and as we often used to hearing, you know, like children we must become. Take that in the sense that we have to go back to the earliest of times and see what's presented to us then. And within that, something we've written off now as adults is just fairy tale nonsense, you know, made up out of the minds of men. No, we find a deeper truth encoded. And this is, for me, part and parcel of this, well, what can you say, this fantastical realm that we've now found ourselves in terms of flat Earth, you know.
So you think C.S. Lewis has got a hand in programming the masses with the ideas of Dodo? And is that Duper's Delight?
No, it's not. C.S. Lewis didn't exist.
Oh, right, okay.
This is for me, and for me, so this is just the same hand, the same hidden hand that wrote this. I say the same hand that wrote the Bible in the early 1600s, wrote the works of Shakespeare.
Okay, you know? So you're absolutely powers that should not be, they are a thing, absolutely. There's a greater game going on, Nathan, and I think we do well to step back. I mean, are we able to handle maybe the true history of both ourselves and the place we call home? I think there was a lot of destruction, a lot of hardship, a lot of, like, as I'm sure, actually, it'd be really interesting. Have you sang the lullaby, Rockabye Baby, to Eleanor yet? I mean, we all must have done it. I definitely done it at some point, but it's only when you think of what's been said or what's been presented to the lyrics, and you can relate it to, say, flat Earth or a sort of a certain history as opposed to a fabricated history, that everything, it can be viewed in a different light. You know what I mean? So that's just, I know it's not for everybody, but that's where we're constantly been reminded, referenced to, pointed at Alice in Wonderland. Again, just type in your favorite author, your favorite band, and you're going to get a reference to either Sgt. Pepper's or Alice in Wonderland. And Sgt. Pepper's is all about the Dodo and, let's say, beyond. I mean, Paul is dead. Paul is dead as the Dodo. So when I say I solved the Sgt. Pepper's puzzle, I mean it. Like, Paul is to be found underneath the Dodo's wing in chapter 3 of Alice in Wonderland. You might go, what the fuck does that mean? Well, see, I've explained all of this and I went through it. This is part and parcel of the greater puzzle. The solution to Sgt. Pepper's is the Dodo, Paul, the walrus is Paul. The walrus is a walrus moustache to be found underneath the Dodo's wing on the face of fake Paul, and chapter 3 of the original artwork from Alice in Wonderland. And that walrus moustache is actually pointing us then up to the North Wing Center, where you have a hidden hand emerging from. So that leads us on to the next series of clues. So this is very, it's not complicated, but it's sort of involved. You know, you have to be coming from different starting points to be able to sort of, so I can completely understand anyone maybe jumping in and saying this is all gobbledygook, this is a raving, disjointed ravings of a madman. Clearly to you, Pete, no, it's makes perfect sense to you, and you know you've gone to great lengths to explain it on whatever 50 plus shows or whatever. But have you ever seen the film A Beautiful Mind?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Right. In that movie, the guy's putting together pieces of a puzzle, and you know, I know from speaking to you a little bit that you've researched things like the Beatles conspiracies and some of the other conspiracies that you're now weaving into Flat Earth by this one particular thing, the Dodo. And in my mind, it just sounds like you've weaved them together. You know, I'm not knocking that. There may be some validity to it. I have no idea. I'm not saying there is or there isn't, but just knowing a little bit about you, it seems like your beautiful mind has weaved these pieces together, and the dodo is like the centerpiece of the spider's web. Okay,
well, I mean, that's fair enough, Nathan. That's one possibility, right? You've heard of Radiohead, the band, right? You've heard of Tom York, most famous band in the world. You'll never guess what Tom York's nickname was as a youngster.
I have no idea. No, I don't know.
Well, Dodo. It turns out to be Dodo.
All right. Okay. That's fucking okay. No, I like Tom York.
I mean, that's just one. So when you read these different connections, and you sort of, after a while, well, first of all, you have to be a flat earther to put it all together. This is how I'm telling you the truth is the real truth encoded. Again, we've been baffled by bullshit as adults. But it's real truth, and I understand.
Let's take that one piece then. So you got, I don't even know the guy. So is he a singer, the guitarist? What is he in Radiohead?
Tom York. He's a singer and guitarist.
Guitarist. So you've got the guitarist in Radiohead being nicknamed Dodo, and you've got the A map being a key to recognizing that the Earth masses are in the shape of a dodo, according to you. You just said there is a connection there. You made that as quite a specific statement. I want you to explain that connection to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, okay, it's a fucking deep connection. I would say it's a deep connection, but okay, Pete, on you go.
No, it's not a. It's one of these things. It's a thread that once you follow the thread, all of these threads start to wind together, and before you know it, you have a strong rope that there's no tearing apart. So I can understand why you will see the weakness in that. But the point I was just making out there is to illustrate that it's through these fabricated narratives, I guess, that the truth is passed over to us. Let me say, for instance, you know that The Economist 2015 magazine. Well, I discovered a hidden puzzle on and that's a worldwide magazine, Nathan. That's seen by millions earthwide, and especially in this conspiracy.
That's great. But I mean, just if we can just stick to that one specific connection, because you're saying there's a connection between the guitarist in Radiohead. Right, hang on.
I was answering that in form. Bear with me.
Okay, sorry.
I'm pointing out that here's a different connection, but it's along the same lines. So The Economist 2015 magazine, worldwide seller, especially in the conspiracy world, is going to be taken apart. There's a hidden puzzle intimately associated with Alice in Wonderland, the Beatles, and the ultimate solution to the hidden puzzle, which I've walked my way through it many hangouts ago, turns out to be Mauritius and the Dodo as well. So that's another sort of world stage narrative been presented. You know what I mean? So it's not, you have to say that that's not insignificant. And again, I've been through all of that, whereas that's probably absolute news to you. And I already knew as well that the solution would be the Dodo and Mauritius. So I was looking back, having more information, coming at the real information, or the information from a different point of view, looking back then on that, again, owned by the Rothschilds. This is how they put across the truth. As children we must become, and not go deeply into all the narratives that are presented to us. You know what I mean? This is the overall idea. But let me just say,
sorry, there's a big long pause, and I'm still literally no closer whatsoever to seeing any connection at all between the guitarist and the Dodo map. There is no connection based on what you've just said. I've just got a load of nonsense. No offence, but that's what that was. You just haven't answered me.
I have answered you, man, in kind. But you're in the hope, you're sitting there in the hope of maybe understanding everything without knowing anything. So I mean, you just want nice little picnic-sized answers that I can feed you, and then I make everything all right in your brain. That's not how it works, Nathan.
All right, okay. I mean, if I say something as a fact, if I say there's a connection between something, I would hope that I could illustrate a connection. If I say that wall outside is broken and my car has got a dent on it, I can then explain that the car hit the wall, therefore there's a connection between those two.
Would you like me to
seemingly hold
No,
on, Pete, let me just get to the end of my bloody hell, I've let you waffle on. So there's two seemingly unconnected things: car with dent, wall with a brick missing. Now I can put a connection. The car hit the wall. Simple, easy for people to understand. And what you've just explained is there's loads of other connections with these other things that ultimately lead to the big picture. Well,
So
that's just word salad. It just doesn't tell me what the connection is. I'll say it once more and then I'll move on. Just once more, just so we're absolutely clear what I'm asking. What is the connection between...
Sort yourself out and control your tone.
Well, let me ask a question.
I just want to ask one. I've asked it 3 times. I just want to ask it a 4th time, see if I get an answer. Doubt it. What is the connection between the guitarist and the Dodo? Because we started this with you saying very specifically there's a connection. It's obvious.
Hold on. Yeah. Whoa. It's okay, Pete. Chill. Listen. No. I can understand where we've went. He started off with the map and how he was explaining how the map was part of the correlation between the Dodo looking like a map, okay? And then he gave you, and if you weren't quite willing to accept that, okay, but he did give you an explanation for that. Then he moved on, and we went on a tangent, and then he was trying to give you some other things that kind of link to it. Okay, he's saying like, listen, this is another thing that it draws along the same line as Tom York and his name being Dodo and that stuff. But it's not a direct link. He's not giving you a total direct link. Okay, but he's giving you sorry, Martin. He's giving you a sort of something coming along that lines. Sorry, Martin's just joined, but he's sounding a bit.
But you've just given me a load of Neeps. Sorry, Martin. I'll let you get this in because I've got to get to the conclusion of this. Please. Just let me just
try and explain it without going too far. Let Pete just go again without going too far. On you go, Pete.
You're on mute, Pete.
You're on mute, Pete.
Okay, sorry. I could post you a link and say, look, you look away and read that and look at it with different eyes. Look at it that there's a story being told here, or there's a thread being made to a greater story. That's why I asked you, prove to me that the earth is flat and stationary. You couldn't just give out one sentence or one brief paragraph and then that's satisfactory to someone who hasn't considered what you're trying to say before. So that's all I can say.
I could say there is no curvature to earth. That's one sentence.
But he's not. Yeah, okay. Okay. That's true. I see what you're getting at. Okay. So where are we on the? Where are we?
Yeah, that would satisfy the question asker, right? Sure, it would.
That's quick, isn't it? That's quick. That's a quick answer. So let me get this straight, Nathan. You're not on the realms of wanting to sort of go along with. Are you wanting to discredit Pete in his entirety? Or is it just,
from it. No, not at all. I don't want to discredit Pete. I like asking questions, but I've asked simple questions that should have simple answers, and they've got long-winded answers that are kind of vague. And you go, that doesn't make me think it's true. Now, I'm not saying I want to discredit Pete, but for anybody watching this who still will have heard that I've asked a pretty simple question, what's the connection between a guy called Dodo and the Dodo map, other than them being the same name? That's literally the only connection that I've got so far. If there's more, I just want to hear it. Because when I have things stated to me in the way that Pete states them, which is it's obvious. You know, it's just obvious. You've only got... And then when asked to confirm it, I'm told, well, you've just got to research more. No, don't tell me something's obvious. If it's not obvious to me, make it obvious. Otherwise, don't say it's obvious. Because what you're saying isn't obvious, it's vague.
Yeah.
Don't say it's obvious.
Yes, but hang on. Let me just say something.
I think that's maybe the way. I think that's the way you talk. Aye, it's okay.
I'm not naming it as a Jew. You came into the chat here and asked me this question. I wasn't talking to Des about any of this stuff, right? And then you come in and you use a little aggressive tone, and then you use words like waffle. Have I ever accused you of waffling? That's automatically going to put somebody on the defense, right? It's a sort of an aggressive manner of speaking. But as I say, and as I keep reiterating, right, you were just jumping in the center. You said a simple question requires simple answers. Tell your child why the sky is blue. Tell your child what the stars are when they ask. surely you'd be able to give a simple answer to the simple question. Yeah.
I don't have, but those are good questions. Very good questions, because I don't have answers to those. Those are just the kind of questions I like, you know, and it's okay to admit that we don't have answers to them. Those are the great questions.
I do have answers to them, though. But
Okay.
it won't be satisfactory to you because you haven't considered anything I've had to say about this whole topic.
Well, you're assuming. I've not heard it yet. Why would you? You're the one being defensive, Pete. I'm not being aggressive here. I'm not trying to discredit you. I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm calm.
Listen. I think Pete has got a point of view as long as everybody else. Anyway, let's welcome Martin to the show. Hello, Martin. How you doing, man? Martin. He's got his mic off, so it'll take a second for him to hear us. Maybe he's not listening.
Greetings, Dan.
How you doing, bud? You
Very
fine?
good, thank you. Happy Sunday, all brothers and sisters.
Hi, Martin.
Hi, Pete. You just got me picking apart put 4 code here. I'm sitting here looking for references in my Sergeant Pepper.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Martin, I solved it. So that's what I'm saying. You probably know this, and
I've been following it for years, but the correlation between is only recent. I have been following Pete, but I don't chuck myself into it because I'm doing my own shit. Like, but good luck to you. It's really cracking, but fucking, I'm knee deep in my own theories.
It is an involved sort of line of inquiry, right? And there is definite solidity to the whole line of inquiry, and it's not easily.
It all ties in together, but I found different avenues with the whole thing. The whole of Sergeant Pepper's, well, actually the White Album, interlaced with the Manson murderers, like hand in hand, hand in glove. There's a connection between them both, not just Helter Skelter. Really weird.
George Bush Jr. played the role of Charles Manson. George Bush Jr., George W. Bush, played the role of Charles Manson. So it's all theater.
Yeah, I know. I would believe it, actually, as well, to look at them both. I've seen the face structures. It looks exactly the fucking same. But this Charles Manson that's getting out of jail in a couple of weeks, this marrying a student that was basically a fan of his, and she was studying him, goes to see him. He's going to marry her. Now, bear in mind, when he done those murders, he was a 40-year-old man. Does anybody want to do the math on how old he actually is now when he's getting out of fucking jail? This guy's an actor. There's 3 different Mansons I picked apart. One with a cross, one with a swastika, and one without. 3 of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I understand what you're saying now.
In a way,
he states different dates of his birth, but he's definitely born in 1945, as far as I can make out. But in another interview, he says 1938. But either way, that would make him far too old. He would be. Well, he'd be a decrepit 90-year-old, not a guy that's got a Mohican and is getting out of jail in 2 weeks' time to marry a young bird, which is what's happening in the government narrative.
Yeah.
Well,
that's where I often say that, like, when you take any of these things literally, like 9/11 or, anything else, pretty much as presented to us as fact, when you take it literally, you lose the meaning. It's in the symbolism, the allegory, metaphor that you find.
Yeah, definitely.
So with Charles Manson itself, the name itself, it's all part and parcel of a greater story. And, as I was saying about the Dodo takes us on to greater things within Alice in Wonderland, especially through Alice through the Looking Glass, I
watched the Disney animation the other day, Pete, right? I can't remember the name, but they had, they basically, it was pirates, and they overtook this ship, and it happened to be the Beagle, and there's basically Charles Darwin on there. And what's he got under his arm?
Dodo.
No shit. I thought, Pete, gotta know this.
There's 1,000,001 connections, and again, they're all little threads that will all intertwine.
The connections you make. I don't know whether you know Heart Math, Randy. Do you know Randall Corcoran Heart Math? He sends me links constantly where he sees the azimuthal equidistant in an American silver dollar or in the back of a buffalo. Or he'll send me like endless amounts of things that he sees in reality, which will tell him this is the true shape of the earth. He really does.
Right. Well, I mean,
you're not the only one thinking like this.
The one thing is, the buffalo did exist. The dodo never existed, Martin.
Yeah, no.
Never existed. What a stupid tale there is attached to the dodo. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we wouldn't have believed in the duck-polled platypus, really, if we hadn't seen it with our own eyes, would we?
No, well, I mean, once you look into the story of the dodo, you find out just how. Did you know the dodo was said to be found with giant turtles and elephant birds, Martin? I mean, what sort of imagery does that conjure up to you?
Eden.
Well, turtles, elephants, flat Earth, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, Terry Pratchett, Discworld. So
Discworld.
again, this is the picture being painted, and waiting for us to sort of decode and unravel.
They're remaking Discworld to be on the telly soon. That'll be interesting to watch, I reckon.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all flat Earth symbology, the whole thing. Even the maps are really interesting. I got a few of them from Discworld. He died recently, didn't he? Terry Pratchett, did he?
Yeah, I did.
That's right. I remember reading the first, before I read the Discworld series novels, I read the Science of Discworld. Have you read the Science of Discworld?
I haven't read any Discworld. I haven't read any Pratchett. I got to be honest, it's just not really me.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it, but I've not watched it much of that either.
Yeah, I read them all, but I started off by reading what was called the Science of Discworld. If you don't know, I don't want to go into Discworld now, but it's sort of the complete opposite.
Yeah, it's probably a guide. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of. It's almost like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy as well, Martin. All of these different stories but they all relate back to Alice in Wonderland, funny enough, in their own inimitable ways. But it's the same thing that's been told again and again.
No, I noticed they keep slipping this stuff in with bullshit narratives about the past. I thought of one the other day. You know my theories of the made-up past, Pete. Well, I was watching an episode of The Young Ones, and I know they slipped this narrative in, and I thought, well, they were in it was the episode when they were in university challenge, right? And their specialized subject was crop rotation in the 14th century. Now, in university, that's actually a fucking thesis you can do, is crop rotation in the 13th century. When you dig into it, well, we've been agriculture and fucking food since time immemorial. This is just them again and nuts. But they got to slip it in even to BBC comedies, you know, because I reckon definitely the young ones had to be part of the old paradigm of, you know, reeling out, you know, with the alternative comedy scene, definitely part of Tavistock thinking, I would think.
They have to be, Martin. They're everywhere, you know.
Yeah, everywhere. I tried to contact John Lydon. I said, only because of B.O.B., I thought, I sat there and I thought, out of all of the people in sort of celebrity, who could we trust the most? It's got to be Johnny Rotten. So I tried to approach him, man, because I tell you what, even if he's not fucking flat, we need somebody like him. I'll get him, make him fucking flat.
Johnny Rotten is a total sellout, Martin. I mean, that was one of the last things I saw was him advertising butter.
Yeah. Can't believe it's not butter. Yeah, he's a bit of a sellout. I know that.
No, he was on the TV the other night, and he was talking about postcards.
Yeah, but in the 1980s, he was banned from the BBC for talking about Jimmy Savile. So would he be willing, as a last-ditch attempt, to get some dignity back for his poxy butter adverts and be what he always wanted to be, and be a flat earther and speak about such things? Now that would be good.
Why do you think he's a flat earther, Martin?
Just something about him, Nathan, I don't know. Because, you know, when they played The Greatest Rock and Roll Swindle, he actually told the people that we're playing you. He never hid it. He never hid the game that they were playing. Their last live concert in San Francisco, he said, you ever have the feeling that you're just being taken for a ride? And then he explains to them how the dialectic works to the people. There was no lies involved. It was a rock and roll swindle. We're inventing a fucking a fashion, punk rock. We're bringing it out to the whole world. Everybody's going to catch on, but it's all bullshit and it's invented by the people that Malcolm Muggeridge and what's his name, Buffalo Girls, who just died. They were working at Tavistock and they set up. But I know the whole story, really detailed. Johnny Rotten had good potential. I think he should come out.
Okay, I mean, let's pretend for a second then, Martin, that Tavistock know the Earth is flat. Why would they tell him? Or why? I still don't see a connection. It's back to what I was saying to Pete earlier, that I don't see a connection between some of the things he puts out in the Dodo. But
unnecessarily, Nathan. What I'm getting at, right, is this guy, right? What appalls me is something like 2 weeks ago. Michael Barrymore gets a massive payoff by the British High Court, right, because of the dead butcher's boy in the bottom of a pool, buggered to bits. The boy didn't even swim. He wouldn't have been in a fucking pool, but the state will give him a big wedge as a fucking reward. That shit sickens me. So outside of the flat earth, what I'm thinking about with this man in my head is he once spoke up, like the way Bill Oddie did, against what the BBC were up to. We're undercovering, fucking basically abusing every fucker that come through their door and covering it up, which is going on. And they enclosed an entire Shepherd's Bush studio because of Jimmy Savile, a completely functional studio worth fucking 100 million. Nothing wrong with it, Nathan. But they had to abandon it because of the ghost of Savile and what they were all doing. There's been other people that have popped off recently included with it. Johnny Ball out of Blue Peter, other people. Bill Oddie, he spoke up around the table once in a pub. He was only a couple of minutes and he said that he tried to expose it. They got rid of him. He's off television and a nutcase, apparently. The only other person I know of is Johnny Rotten, and he was banned from the BBC because of he said, we all know what's going on with Savile, but then he got banned. So he spoke out once, maybe he'll speak out again. That's all I'm thinking. Against these lot and what they're up to.
That's not just all you're thinking. That's quite a lot.
Oh, you're crinkling there, Des. You're crinkling, brother. I think you might come out.
Sounds
plug your mic back in.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Should be okay.
Crinkle.
I'll restart it.
It's all gone horribly wrong. I don't know if you want to unplug your mic and plug it back in again or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't need that. Just stuff. Is that better?
What, you're simulcasting, Nathan, are you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going out on Nathan Oakley 1980 as well.
Yeah, I'm on your chat.
Thank you very much, Nathan. I didn't know you were doing that. You're fly. You're good. Oh, you're good. Nathan, you're simulcasting. You're so simulcasting that you're not even watching me right now. I'm speaking to you. Hello.
Can't really understand a word you're saying, I've got to be honest. Because you're roboting.
Shit. Are you joking? Is everything fucked up?
But if you...
Anyway, I'm half a century old tomorrow, guys, so I'm going to get stoned and wish you all very best. Love you all, flat earth brothers and sisters. Mean that from the bottom of my heart. And that's one day.
That's fine.
Love you all.
Nice one, Martin.
Love. I know.
Happy 50th for tomorrow, Martin.
Thank you, Nathan. I got a day full in the rain doing shit for people, so I'm giving a day up tomorrow as usual. So it's today.
Julian years, Martin.
Oh, that was a good job.
Sorry, Pete.
I said, are you 50 in Julian years?
In Giuliani, that's an interesting thing. I was born on 2nd of October, right? I only just got the hospital, my mother, and it was the worst thunderstorm for decades. And the nurses said, "Oh my God, what have we got coming out here?" And supposed to be a really strange night. They said the rain was torrential. It was biblical thunderstorms. On a Juliana, if it went over in March to the next year, then my birthday would have been 5 months ago. I'm already 50 then in the Juliana. All of this needs reevaluating. I've been trying to work out what they're up to, Pete, on dates, and I need to now fucking reshuffle everything. The Royals been using it for double birthdays, Masons, Illuminati, and whatever they do, they're on Juliana, and I never even knew till this week. So that's a whole lot of math involved there to shuffle around everything I've been doing, try and find out what they've done, which is a definite, by the way.
Again, there isn't thousands of years that you have to go back. This all began relatively recently, Martin. So
yeah, brother,
look at everything in a different sense. My thinking now is that naturally, in this unnatural environment, there's 8 days a week and 360 days a year. But everything we're in a broken system anyway. We know that by now. The Earth, something has happened to the Earth. As you
watched late last night, Pete? Noah again. Because kind of thinking in Hollywood always like to do a bit of, they're definitely doing precog, aren't they, with these fucking films? Yeah. But there was really essential bits in it. There really was about all the creator, and these angels have been turned to stone, and they turned their back on man because they basically polluted the entire plane, which they called planet, right? But they never, because they said that they were opening the firmament to let the waters from above through. They said that in the film. But it was all creator related, how we were back in that age that I'm thinking of, Pete. But it's a perfect analogy for now. You know, the way they've completely septic the plane and they need to reset.
Have you guys been watching the most recent programming for the masses, which is called Rick and Morty, akin to things like Family Guy? No, you're not caught that? Anybody else?
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I've seen that, Nathan. Seen that.
It's basically the current
it's
version
not so
of
much
the predictive programming.
That is up all the time. Okay, that Morty thing. If you just click on your YouTube, right, and it comes up, this is the things that are fucking giving you. This thing it's on about is right on just now. It's advertised on YouTube. You know, if you go in with no account, that's the things that's getting advertised as well. It's showing you that right now.
We can't understand you. Yeah. So
not one fucking
maybe
word,
if you
honestly, it sounded like you had head in a bucket of water. You used to unplug and plug, or even if you left the Hangout and come back, you wouldn't go away.
Drop from the call, I would say. Yeah, drop from the call and rejoin. That's the only way to solve your problem. Literally, the only way to solve it is to drop and rejoin. But yeah, but the Hangout's not running. I don't think it'll make any difference to us. We'll just carry on chatting. It's not even running.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with Rick and Morty, they're taking all their cues from current scientists. So hello, Munchkin. So the current raft of scientists are giving them their ideas, and they don't know that it's the same things we know in terms of how people are being indoctrinated through the education system. So if they're getting their information from the scientists, it's going to be riddled with predictive programming, and it is.
The writers are all MIT. Like, ooh, that's a. You just.
Don't worry, just Neeps. If you can pop yourself on mute just for 10 seconds, because you cause huge feedback when you rejoin the call, but it only lasts a few seconds, and then if you mute and then eventually come back, it'll stop feeding back.
Sweet thing. I can hear Eleanor.
Come here, you. You shouldn't be here. I've been smoking here.
Want to see my pictures, Eleanor? Baby? See Martin pictures? Come here, love. Check Martin's trippy head off.
Martin.
What I done last night and this morning. This is called Aztec Driver. Okay? Like that? Martin's
that's pretty, Martin.
Thank you. This one's called Brain. I did them last night. Did you like? This one I just done this morning. Talking to you, Nathan. It's called Aztec Eye.
I see a boob.
You can see what you want in these, Pete. That's the beauty of my pictures.
Very good. Very intricate.
Love it. Love it.
I like that one. There's a lot going on in there. There's a lot of flat earth symbology in there.
You like that one, do you?
You like that one?
Pictures?
Isn't it? I knew you'd love them. Got colour. They love colour. See? Pretty, isn't it?
Trippy.
I'll do smart. I'll do you a picture next, right? I'm gonna paint you a picture. Definitely. Okay? Eleanor, paint you a picture. Okay? I've got loads ready. I'll do a proper good one for Eleanor. I know. I do hundreds. I'm right. God, this achiever makes me creative, and that's just the flat Earth awakening, one or the other.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Nah, you're still crackling. What's wrong with your mic?
I'm crackling. Yeah. Really? Seriously?
I think maybe try turning yourself down on voice meter. Try turning yourself down. It just sounds like you're overloading the mic.
I might crackle you, Pete, as well.
Oh, Pete, I was playing bass this morning.
Pete.
I was wondering what happened to you with the bass.
You
got a nice spanking new bass, but I never saw any output from you.
Pete, might crackle into you.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Des.
All right. Okay.
Oh, my kid's putting her fingers in her ears. She doesn't like the sound.
Oh, good. I like Jimi Hendrix. Ole! On a Sunday.
Okay.
The guitar.
Only one ear this time. That's an improvement, right?
Do you know any Beatles? Can you do us paperback writer? Oh no, we just
glasses covered out and not play to use it. There you go, he's getting them on.
You're good though. I like your guitar, okay? You're good. You guys right in. Good lead. Okay. Good rhythm. I reckon you'd be good in a band. If you have been.
Well, I've done it before, yeah. But I've got no inspiration to want to be a fucking rock star. That's the problem, you know.
Why not? Listen, I'm having flat stock. I've already got 2 bands. I got a DJ. All I need is for some rich flat earther to give me a field or a couple of acres. I'll arrange it for next year. I'm on flat stock. Already got a DJ, bro. I've got loads happening. Interpersonal said they'll turn up for a private, and they got loads of bands on their circuit they can get to come to. I'll give them a box of eggs for doing it or something. It'd be great.
I'm well into music of all kinds, you know, and I love playing guitar, but you've got to look at it as like an artist, you know. You want to do things, but you don't want to do it in the aspect of, I want everybody to know what I'm doing. Look at me. Look at me. I'm not like that. I'm not like that at all. So I haven't got any inspiration. It doesn't matter how fucking good I am. I'm not somebody that's looking for glorification. And if you are looking for glorification and you want people to look at me, then that's the route you would take. But I don't look for that route. I'm just happy to play guitar, and I've had lots of people tell me before I was really good, and I'm not even so good as I used to be. I mean, I'm a lot older now.
I'm 51.
I'm 51, man.
Oh, mate, you old bastard. Fucking younger than me. Yeah, oh no, you're 50 on Juliana. You're all right.
Yeah, I'm 50. I'm 51. No, I'm not. 66. Yeah, 51. 66. I'll be 52 in November.
Wow.
Late 66 I was born.
It's a bit better, but
no, I'll be 51 in November. No, for fuck's sake. I'm 50. I'm 50. I'll keep it until I'm 50. I don't care about my name. I don't care about my name. I don't care about my age. That's nothing I've ever thought about. It's only when you look back in time that you think about your age, you know?
You have to fix your mic, Daz. You have to fix your mic, man.
Oh, mic's fucked up. Okay. Oh, shit. It seems okay this side.
It's all right, yeah? When I tuned in. It was perfect.
Yeah.
I know, Joe.
Well, it should be.
I have a box of, those little mini cassettes, and there must be like 3 hours each side, but I have over 100 of those with loads of songs that nobody has ever heard. Like, and I'm also object to performing. You sort of create, I think in one sense we're here to make our own music, but you do it for yourself and from yourself,
Definitely.
Yeah.
You get put down sharp.
I just practice every day, and I've just been getting better. It's just for me, not for no other reason. I'm saying with my my painting or my artwork or whatever I'm into. I've even tried creative writing lately. All sorts, whatever. I'm just trying everything because I'm getting old and see what I can actually do. I think everyone should try.
Have you ever written any songs, Martin?
No. Oh, yeah. When I was a punk rock in the skinhead days, I tell you what, I had one plagiarized. It's on a fucking album. I fell out with a friend over it called Mad World. And I wrote the lyrics. And me and a 15-year-old skinhead sat in his bedroom writing this down. And the lyrics were mine. Say about the time I'm 17, it's on an album sold all over the world with a group called Violent Storm. Yeah, Celtic Storm. But the entire band got killed in a car crash, except for my ex-best mate, Billy. Really weird story, but on Friday the 13th, car crash on Severn Bridge, bam.
So had you sort of been paid for your royalties for your contribution?
No,
to
I
the
mentioned
song?
it. I
You
mentioned
met up
it.
with the band.
You could change your fucking the title, Billy. I said it's all mine. That one. There was a few on there that was correct. That was mine. I remember doing it. Well.
I don't know if you heard this one, Martin, but a friend of mine, well, he would have been a friend at the time. He used to play guitar in local pubs. He actually wrote the screenplay and did the cartoons for Chicken Run. He sent it off to an agent. He sent it off to an agency in Dublin, right? And he never heard back from them. The next minute he knew that, or he looked around, and then you had this movie Chicken Run, which incorporated his whole life's work.
You do that. He skanked it away. That's terrible.
I was in his house here in Limerick, and he was showing me all the drawings and all the little porcelain or designs he had made up, etc. So yeah, this is what happens. But as I say, if you had got what was due to you back then, well, maybe you wouldn't be here now, and your flat earth realization and beyond frame.
There's nothing that I don't regret, even the worst parts of my life. Right? I thought last night, all the shit and things that have happened to me. I thought, but actually, that's golden, because how can I actually help anyone else or advise them, say, on you know, things like I don't know, bereavement, addiction, love, fucking all of these things we got in life. How can I actually advise anybody if I haven't been through any of this shit myself? So now I got all of the t-shirts, and I know I'm in good state to help people, I think. Which is what I want to do.
The only problem is, I was going
I think
to say,
it's not t-shirts, right?
things themselves to learn to appreciate. Everyone wants to take their own individual route, right?
So yeah, I'm just different. I don't expect anybody to be like me, Pete. I really don't. I know people are.
That's for sure. There's only one Martin lead key.
Yeah.
That's for certain. Especially recently, Martin. As you know, I say that because the whole narrative associated with the Dodo is a fabrication, is telling a greater story. The year 1598 was picked specifically. Now, I think I asked you before in chat, did you ever go through something called Google 1649?
Yeah, I know about that. Yeah, you're not the only one that's linked me up either. Yeah.
Right. So this all of these little clues are tying into in and around the same date. For now, there might have been other, I would say, minor cataclysms later on, but I think the main one, and that's the reason why they picked the date as well, and it ties in so well. And
you know how you do this, Pete, and you just know in your heart where you worked on this puzzle for not just since the Flat Earth Awakening. You've probably been doing this for years instinctively. And then it all sort of starts to make sense. Your Dodo and everything else is all falling into place. I'm getting exactly the same thing with my thing as well. It's all sort of falling into place. The deception, the grand deception, is so grand, but it's easier to carry out than I thought. It really is. Yeah. I was wondering all along, how could they just do this? Keep all the people asleep for that long? How fucking easy was it? I should have thought. Wow. But all of it, heliocentric model, fucking bullshit about history, who we are, what we are, the whole shimoli. Even church. I interviewed a vicar the other day, and she wanted to go on about was materialism, how she was flesh and blood and Jesus was this conduit, and we can't communicate with the Almighty without him. And my friend over there, like, wanting to fill it in. It was fucking awesome. But I don't see life like that at all. I see us as spirits having a human experience and no other way whatsoever, and they just take us to another way where they say that we're basically material, completely material, and consciousness is a byproduct of mental processes, which is complete bullshit, guys. It's not. I can literally prove this. The things that have happened in my life are not fucking fantasy. They are real, and other people have had it as well, and it doesn't fit in with their books, that's for sure, 100%. So we need to
can I just ask you all a quick question? Sorry to interrupt. So in the chat room, we've got people arguing about the 7.5 mile laser test across the lake. What do you guys think about all the current laser tests and curvature tests?
Okay.
Sorry, I messed up.
Yeah, for me it's conclusive. Earth is known flat and stationary. There's no how many more times are you going to sort of prove it to yourself before you move on? This is what I'm saying as well, Nathan, just in relation to what you were saying earlier on. Once you get to flat Earth, there's a greater puzzle and greater questions present themselves. And ultimately it comes back to, well, who are we? Where are we? Was there a state in the past, relatively recent past or otherwise, that was of quite a different kind than what we're experiencing today? All of these questions are answered as well. This is what I keep saying. This is what the ultimate puzzle is. And it's for one to follow. I mean, you can't just remain stagnant on flat Earth. That's a limbo land, you know, because you've done away with everything that you've held dear according to your whole education, your whole life.
Carry on, Pete talking. I got a pure cockhead that says I haven't been in the merch. My mother's sitting by there, right? Pictures all around the wall. Father's a skipper. So while you talk, I'll present some of my life at sea in photographs because I got quite a few. Carry on, mate.
Wait, no, I go. Martin, what's fairly? Hold on a minute, Martin.
We can't hear you. I mean, it's just so shite. Your mic's. I don't know how many times you want me to say it, but your mic's fucked.
Seriously, your mic's fucking shite, is it?
Yeah, it's just roboting. I don't know if there's something wrong with your connection or if it's. I don't know what the problem is, but it's just we can't. We can only decipher about 1 in 10 words.
That's my wife.
Right. Okay. Can everybody hear me? Okay. This is my live stream. Am I sounding bad? Is my mic sounding bad? Can anybody understand me? Or is it just the live stream that's...
No, it's fucked.
You're fine to sound. Everybody says I'm okay.
Well, just
Everybody
here.
says I'm fine, so it must be in here then.
No offense, Neep,
Okay.
but I've just told you that your mic's fucked, and you've just constantly talked with a fucked mic for the last 30 seconds. So basically, we're having no conversation while you talk through a shit mic that's broken.
Fine. So it must be on here. Okay, so don't stress.
Yeah, you carry on talking, mate. Wonderful.
What are you looking at when you're looking at?
Sure, it's incidental or accidental.
I think you're possibly looking at. You're possibly looking at your stream, or you're listening. Yeah. Right, but I'll tell you this. You keep pointing up. It's something I don't know what it is.
I'll ask my chat if they feel my frustration. I'll say it one more time. I'll just see. Hopefully, it will sink in. Your mic is broken. Every time you talk, the conversation ends because we can't understand you, and all we get is garbled nonsense. So the audience are getting a really shit time. I don't know how else I can really illustrate this to you. I don't know what else to do.
Is my stream bad? Is my stream bad? Nathan, my stream is okay, it says. So it's obviously the you're streaming it and you're listening to your stream.
I'll try and say it again. We can't understand you.
I know.
So when you just keep talking, the conversation ends and all we hear is your shit mic. I mean, I'm getting frustrated now. I wasn't frustrated with Pete, but this does kind of piss me off because if it was my stream, I'd just kick you. But, you know, I can't do that. I can't help other than to tell you that you've got a problem. I can't help solve it, and you can't ask me because I can't tell you because I can't understand the question. You know what I mean? I can't do anything more. That's as much as I can do.
Any better? Is that any better for you? Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Coming through here.
I think that's it. I think you've solved it. Wicked. Thank the Lord.
Right. Happy with that?
Sorry, I don't want to get annoyed with you. I want to solve the problem. That's all. So I'm sorry I got stroppy.
I know you don't want to get annoyed with me, but you're trying your best.
That's brilliant. Now I can actually have a conversation. I want to have a conversation with you. That's the most important thing here.
Yeah, that's what it was. Right. So how's the stream now then? Is it, I've got to check my stream's okay now.
Right, now we can have a proper conversation. So Martin, what are you showing us? Because they're
I'm presenting my life at sea. Somebody just told me
I think I'm okay.
I haven't been, so just showing my entire. Actually, I lost one suitcase full in Tenerife. That's a good story. I should tell you one day. But what I have got left after 50 years is about that many. But somebody started making it up. So my mother sat here. It's just laughable. That's my engine room. I spent 2 years looking at that fucking thing. It actually blew up one day when I was there. A fireball shot out into the bulkheads. I literally, in the middle of the night, had to crawl under it and basically to hit it off, and I saved the entire crew's life.
Right, but we didn't get to see it. So now we've gone through the audio problems. Now we're going to go through Martin's visual problems. So
I saw
okay.
What you're doing is you're getting it up, but then
Martin's stream is very slow.
Yeah, exactly. Your stream's slow, Martin.
Right? You go and wave your hands about, Martin. Go and Nathan, go wave your hands. See? Your hands is okay when you move about. Pete's perfect when he moves about. He's not got a problem either. But when you go into Martin, he's logging.
Come back.
Right?
So
no, I'm on you now.
To solve that, Martin, sorry, Neeps. To solve that, just hold the picture up, but hold it there minimum 10 seconds. Minimum. Because then it'll refocus, go into HD, then we'll get to see it. Do you see what I mean?
My brain makes sense of it. Nathan.
Oh, he's definitely in HD. There's no problem with that. Look. It's just it's the way his bandwidth comes over. Look, here you go. See? Everybody's in HD.
Only one of my engine room.
See, I'm bright red with embarrassment because I'll stick the camera on me for my stream. Because I'm like trying to produce the show and get Martin to do certain things. It's like I'm a guest here. I should just shut my mouth and just let it roll. But instead I'm like producing Martin and saying do this, do that. Now I've not got the camera on him.
Producing anything, Nathan.
Beautiful.
It was just a chat. as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
That's generator 1 and 2. That's all.
I was going to say I can make out engine
That
parts
was a
now.
mess. That's all that was. That was a mess.
That's why it was,
just no, it wasn't clear. Lights, camera, action. Right, hold on. Wait. I've got no lights. I need to bring my cell back in. Look, I've got no lights on my cell. Hold on. 2 seconds.
Let me just ask Martin, because we're sort of on the topic. I say, Martin, that there's no ship at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean in terms of the Titanic. They gave us out the sort of official conspiracy about this switcheroo, you know, for insurance purposes. And I say there's no better place to hide sweet fuck all than at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. What do you think? You've been a sailor all your life.
I think it's a good chance you're right. I did recently research its sister ship's demise, the Britannic. It got sunk in the Mediterranean, hit by a torpedo off the coast of Italy. Random torpedo. But they're only like recently, you're not allowed to dive to it, and they're only recently giving you pictures of it. This is identical to the Titanic.
You'll never guess where James Cameron was on 9/11, the morning of 9/11.
I've heard. Remind us.
He was down in doing his usual around the wreck of the Titanic.
Right.
That's the official story. So they're making the connection here. So all of these things are connected. But I haven't heard too many people picking up on that. You know, once you get beyond the official story, there's always a conspiracy there waiting for you. A lot of people tend to sort of stick there. But to consider the absolute utmost level of fakery involved in all things presented to us seems to be like a doozy, but it seems to be a big jump for a lot of people, you know, for some reason. But I was just asking that. But
no, I think they're too busy. I mean, Nathan's sitting there texting somebody, and Martin's looking at some kind of book.
No, I was just
I'm interacting with my chat room, so I'm saying to the chat room, literally right then, that this is your stream. I'm explaining. I was about to share the link to your channel so that they can all sub to you. That was what I was doing.
It would probably be a good idea, Nathan. I mean, that would be a good idea. Nathan, go and explain to me what you do. Go and explain to me what you're doing when you're going like that. Well, let me show you.
I've got a mute button on my mic, so there's a mic above me.
You keep going like this.
There's a mic, so I'm just muting it. Mute. Oh,
you're right. Got you. But let me explain then. You don't need to mute. It's actually fine. It's not picking up any background noise. Or anything.
I've got my wife's making dinner and my kids screaming.
No. Anyway, here's Ollie. Ollie, hello. You're back. Hey, what's this about you've not got a picture? I don't believe it's you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right, yeah, look.
Is it you two? Is it really you?
Fucking me, all right.
Peachy got a bit worried. Oh, no, he's a globe head. He's a fucking globe head. What the fuck's going on?
You look like a right Dodo.
Love you too, Pete, mate. That's good.
It's nice to see you. Nice to see you. Why did you... Right, forget flat earth. Let's get back on it. Why did you shave your head? Ollie's head.
Why did I shave it? Because this is usually what my hair's like anyway.
No, is it serious?
That usually gets
lazy for about the last year. I never had but I usually have short hair. It's just I just got lazy with it. And it just kept growing, and and the other day I had a chance. I met someone, and I just asked them if they had a set of shears. Clippers. They said, yep. I says, right, give me them. And I just done it the other day because I've been meaning to do it for months now, you know. So, but that's how my hair usually is. Maybe a bit shorter.
Really? Wow, it's so different for what you usually look like. You know, you fit the personality. You know, you get your first impressions. You know,
yeah.
So you see the first way you see, and it's like that's Ollie. That's how he looks. So then changing for that into, and in a funny sense, okay, in a funny sense, changing for that into like Nazi is like, oh my shit, oh fucking hell, there's something happened, there's something drastically went fucking wrong here. But no, if you're usually short haired,
yeah,
you just let it go for a while to go back.
what will happen is, if anybody's noticed over a period of time, like my beard grows. My beard grows and then it suddenly disappears. It suddenly disappears. All right, Pete, enjoy your meal. And you'll notice usually my beard grows and then I shave it off. It's just down to laziness. I'm not really into bothering about how I look. I'm not there to do the dance of trying to attract women or anything like that. It's not. So I just don't give a fuck anymore. I don't feel the need to bother about my appearance. I just change it as it's just laziness. If I have long hair and a beard, I've been lazy. I've just been lazy and I can't be bothered cutting my hair. That's all. It's usually this, or maybe a wee bit longer. So, but
I feel the same. Or not so much lazy. It's just I would probably guess that it's just natural. There's some compelling thing about society. It says, "Oh, your hair's getting long and you're looking misrepresentative. You need to go and clean yourself up or something like that." I mean, I don't get that. I mean, I can see my hair getting longer at times, and I don't mind. But I just leave myself to go as I am, and it's natural. That's
I just take maddies now and again. Days I just maddies, as I say, fuck it. And just go like that and just do it kind of thing. But it was laziness. With me, it is laziness. It's just, I'll do it tomorrow, do it tomorrow, do it tomorrow. Because once you get past that growing a beard, once you get that past it, that it no longer itches, that's it. You don't give a fuck. Then you just let it go, and then it's just, as I say, with me, it's laziness. Just not really caring about my appearance or anything like that. So, that's it. I put my hands up.
Don't worry. Go back to Martin then. Come on in, Martin. Tell me about you.
Aye. Sorry.
Why do you leave your? Why do you go for the long hair as well? What's the difference between these people that go for the long hair or just let it go, and these people that sort of conform to society and want to look good? Why do you find yourself, Martin?
Oh, sorry, brother.
You didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah, well.
Oh, dearie me. It's, Nathan and Martin, you're both on here, but you're both sort of up to your own agenda.
I know.
That's boring. We're talking about hair. The chat's more interesting. The chat's talking about interesting stuff.
I want to just get blocked up with my friends.
There's the chat talking about curvature tests and laser continuity, and to be honest, I'll put the chat up on my screen because it's more interesting than.
Oh, that.
I was waiting for a gap to ask Ali what he thought about the Dodo, but so far it's just hair talk.
Yeah.
He's just introduced his cell. Okay, he's just introduced his cell, and he comes in, and I'm saying hello to him. He's a friend, and I fucking introduce myself, and I speak to him like a friend. It's not. This isn't a TV presentation where it's like, oh, let's get on with the chat.
I know. I've also apologised to the chat for that. I'm like, this isn't my show. I'm sorry. I'm not going to try and control what goes on. If they want to talk about fluff and hair, that's their business. But what goes through my mind is the people who accuse people like Patricia, who has got a 90% flat Earth show, of talking about fluff, and then we're here talking about fucking hair. Like I say, the chat's just much more interesting because it's talking about laser tests. No offence.
Wait a minute. Who on this panel here has mentioned Patricia Steer talking about fluff? I've never talked bad about her.
No, I'm not saying you have. I'm just saying what goes through my mind is when the detractors say that her show talks fluff, and when they say she talks fluff, I'm thinking, well, she doesn't, but we are.
Yeah, but who's complaining about the fluff?
Loads of people. I see it in the comments all the time on her show and in the chat room.
No, nobody mentioned that. Nobody mentioned that.
I don't talk about.
We'll get back to where we are, Ali. Yeah, you're right enough, Ali. You're right enough. Anyway, back to the panel.
I don't think she's a guy.
Chris.
I don't buy into that shit. I don't buy into all that shit that gets said about anybody.
Chris is on the show. Chris has just come in.
Hi, people. All right.
Hello, Chris. Yep.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Nathan. Ali.
He's in the dark here, but never mind him. He's just hiding and lurking away there, just waiting to say something. I know he's got something good to say, but here we go.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Yeah, go on. Go on.
No, I finished. That was it.
No, you hadn't even started before you finished.
Yes, what's
Ali
it?
knows what
Yeah,
I'm on
start
about.
again.
Ali knows what I'm on about. It's okay. He's nodding.
How you doing, Chris? I don't think we've spoken before.
Go back to the chat thing.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, is it Effie Chris? This is Nathan. He's an awfully nice chap down Devon
Hi,
way.
Nathan.
Good to meet
Yeah,
you.
I'm in
Get this
Plymouth.
back on there.
Unless I'm wrong, we haven't spoken before, have we?
No, Nathan. I've seen you. I've seen you about obviously at the Leamington Spa meet. I watched the video there with D. I've met actual D at Jenny Cliff in Plymouth. We did a hangout. Well, just a couple of videos together regarding the Eddiston. So yeah, that's the only person I've met really in person is Eternal Padawan.
Oh, D, good guy.
But yeah, he's he does quite a lot, to be honest. And every time he goes out and about with his camera around the Plymouth way, I'm either usually away working or something. So it'd be nice to hook up with him again, do something, live.
The Edison Lighthouse is a cracking little shop. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the unique thing is that it has a
one's in there.
stump adjacent to it, so you can actually see that at a distance as well.
Yeah. Cool. I know. I watched it. It's very good.
Yeah.
I did him a big favour, because he was at the Leamington Spa meet and he did the what do you call it, lightsabers. When he did it, he caught himself in the nuts. And I said, "No, don't worry, I did that bit out." So I edited it out.
He broke his fucking foot. He done a deboxing of a lightsaber. This is a 40-year-old man, and he's out his front gardening. He walks, slips on the curve, and snaps his ankle. I thought he might give up the lightsabers, but he's gone into it more so now. Love him.
Yeah.
Funny. All healed now, though.
But right, Martin, what? You've read this book with that Andrea Fomenko. You've read that now, haven't you?
No, because I only heard of it this week. I got it off of a Newsflower. I haven't even started it yet.
I sent you ages ago, mate. I sent you about 6 months ago.
Is it? Oh, it's lost in my ocean of saves. Then I will dig it out. I got your message.
Oh, well, I thought you'd actually read it because you mentioned it. You mentioned in Fomenko about the history, about the false history, fake history, how it started.
How many years ago was I on that first? Then I should have fucking followed through then.
That's only about 6 months. I think it was this year or something. What you were doing. You were looking at maps or something, and I sent you a link. Or you were talking about history or something.
Shit,
I sent you a link.
Should have picked that apart back then. I missed out here, haven't I? I would have been ahead of the game.
No, not really, because you're talking about it now anyway. It's
that's true. But how in depth is it, though? Jesus Christ, Ali, this subject goes.
Well, he's a mathematician. The book.
To pick this apart,
what he done was what he done basically is he took points from everything, from the Bible, from Chinese literature, from everything, and he compared it. He put it all together. He put it into a mathematical kind of equation. If this happened, that happened. He found a lot of characters. For example, like Alexander the Great, the same as Moses. He was found. His father was killed, or something like that. Like Genghis Khan, he got disassociated from the family. They've all got the same kind of stories, and what he was doing, he kind of matched up. So a lot of these historical figures are actually one and the same. Yeah, but it's a very interesting book. It's called, what is it? History, Science or Fiction. It's called, by Andrei Fomenko and another guy.
Right, I got another one from him. I only just browsed it the other day, but I got like too many books on the go, all on the same subject. I'm rereading Fingerprints of the Gods here, which is, besides the globe shit, it's quite good. But to be honest, these mainstream researchers are not on par with what the flat earthers are up to. I got to be honest, they're just not. The info we got coming in on each separate little show is better than what comes out in these best-selling novels. It's crazy. It's true. Cutting edge.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Sorry, Des.
No, on you go, Ollie. On you go.
It's quite funny how I've been noticing the mainstream. I mean, I said in an earlier hangout, people are selling themselves short by not reading the newspapers, not watching the main news. Because what happens if you're involved in the two worlds, you can actually see them coming back with arguments against a meme or a discussion that's been going on in depth, and it's nothing to do with the flat earth. But it's like a month later, you'll see it come out the news, not mentioning flat earth, but a bit of science that flat earthers have been going on about, like curvature or light refraction or whatever. You'll find out there'll be a story about it, and given it's quite a strange phenomenon when you actually start. But for some reason, you know, people wear this badge of honor. I don't watch the news. I don't watch the mainstream.
No. I read the Mail.
I think you're right, Ollie. I would have to agree with Ollie. Yeah, I think you're on the same path. You're on the same path. We're all sort of fucking on a sort of timeline together. It's like, here we go, Ken. You're saying exactly the same kind of thoughts that I'm thinking. We watch the fucking interpretation that the media feeds us. We sit there, we watch it, it comes in, and then we distill it in our fucking minds, we put it through and process it, and we go, this is the explanation for that, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as somebody fucking says it, contradicts it, and it comes out, then there they go. They're fucking, they find the fucking avenue to bring it back to, we can explain this, You know,
exactly.
I know exactly where you're at, kid.
Yeah, like reality filters, I'm sure. Cathexis. I was just going to say, Cathexis talks a lot about reality filters.
News and stuff about it, like, you know, I'd like to bring up clips in the news to show you how it happens as it happens, you know, and this is why this was called It May Get Banned. Because if you've got any clips to start proving these kind of things, to show you how things get said and how they get contradicted, this is now to do it. So we can all see it, we can all fucking get it. And if it doesn't get banned, fine. But if it does, fair enough.
Yeah, it does.
Because you always come back with rebuttals. You always, you know, and it's funny how it's always after the fact, even though they can control memes, they do put memes out. A lot of the time they'll find when, you can always tell when people in the flat earth community have triggered onto something or got onto something, because the explanation comes out a month later on the mainstream media. They're not talking to us, but they're talking to the people, the masses or whatever, that might stumble across that kind of subject maybe someone's talking about, but already they've got the answer off the mainstream up and they can debunk it straight away, kind of thing, or they kind of feel settled about it. So, but it's like a reactionary thing, and you know you're hitting the, and it's happened for the last, I reckon about the last year and a half, because I've always watched the news and always followed it. It's like, you know thine enemy, keep an eye on the fucking enemy. There's no point saying, I'm not going to watch the mainstream. But how the fuck, the mainstream is feeding the people that are the very people that are voting for the fucking mainstream, for the politicians that are buying into that shit. Of course, we have to watch what they're brainwashing with them. We have to keep ahead of the game. So it's important to watch your enemy, to know it, to infiltrate into these organisations and kind of stuff, and watch it, you know. And then you can bring that to the table, bring it as a proof, show everybody in the flat earth, look, they're talking about this here. And maybe people push it on a little bit, you know, get into deeper discussions about something and watch them, because they're going to trip up, they're going to fall up, you know, they're going to trip up very, very soon. It's just catching them at it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the last Eclipse days, they had, again, I watch the BBC News. My wife usually watches it in the morning, so I'll sit there and I use that, I use it as a tool to gather information, to get ammunition to present out on certain aspects at a later date. And the last Eclipse, they had a scientist on, and they were asking him about the balloons that they were sending up for the eclipse. And what this is very selective, and they chose to actually broadcast this. And he said, what we've got, if we've got 2 cars with bacteria on it, he said, we're going to keep one on the ground, we're going to send the other one up at a balloon at whatever distance. And they said, well, what's that going to tell you then? He said, well, we're going to see how this bacteria is affected, or if it's affected or not. And then we're going to compare the 2 later on back in the lab. And what's the point of this then? And he's asking the question. He says, well, it's all to help us learn and glean about life on Mars. And I think after everything they're doing, they just had to get that in about Mars. And it's like a continuing on from other things. Why not talk about the eclipse? They're talking about bacteria on a card that they're sending up during the eclipse and connected that with Mars. And it's just complete nonsense, really. What about all the other balloons? What other experiments were they doing? Have we heard about that? None at all.
Yeah, because they set hundreds up. You know, NASA set up hundreds and hundreds of balloons.
I heard a figure of 50 or something, but even in the shots that I took of the eclipse, I went down to Cornwall and took eclipse with the camera filter on my P9, and we discussed this, Ali, didn't we? And there were certain objects between each photographs that actually changed its position. I couldn't really work out what it was. Didn't think it was stars, but then somebody said to me that it could be actually the balloons, but the balloons would have been sort of in close approximation of the sun, if you like, you know. But they did move between each photograph. Some were moving up, some were dilating in light strength, so they'd been moving away. So we could say, yeah, possibly they're balloons. They wouldn't have been stars.
Yeah, they were definitely objects. They were definitely objects. What you showed me, without a doubt, that you could actually see that them changing. As I said, I don't think it was stars. I believe it was objects up there that, you know, the sun's only up there and the moon's only up there, so we don't know what height it is. We don't know what height the balloons. Look at that balloon that they sent up there and it didn't even pop. It went up higher than any. You know, these weather balloons that they send up around Antarctica, they're up there and they go right. They were traveling around there for 58 fucking days, man. Why didn't they pop? You know what I mean? Right.
And what distance were they covered over 58 days?
Well, just a little bit over the apparent circumference of the Earth, actually. But they said they went through. They had the actual tracking on it, and you could see it going. They had the Antarctica like that, and they had the GPS tracking, so you could see it go around 3 times. And I was like, "Yeah, right." You know what I mean? It was so, especially when you see the winds that are up there, they're about 400 kilometers an hour, which is what's that? 250 miles an hour. Stick that in a balloon, and suddenly, when you do the mathematics, you've got the time that a balloon would take. It's about 32,000 or 35,000. I can't remember what the circumference worked out at. But it worked out, you know, like a lot bigger. And it was possible it could have went, you look at that in old school, and you could stick a balloon up that wind and up in the wind and it'll go all the way around the ice wall like that.
When you put 59,000 miles, wasn't it? 59,000 miles.
Sorry?
59,000 miles, thereeabouts.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yep, that's it. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. And it was, as I say, they said it was up there for 3 days. But as I explained to you, Chris, these satellites up there, they believe that they're orbiting a ball rather than, you know, what I was talking about earlier on. They have to measure in planar, even like that, because they'll always be perpendicular. So to them, it will be a straight line, but they have to, the mathematics that the satellite does when it transmits the information back to the ground level is in spherical geometry. So the actual, the satellite itself processes the information that it gathers fucking back in spherical. You know, as everybody probably knows, I believe that satellites are up there.
Yep.
And they're military. But there you go. That's just me.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I can think of another example, sorry to interrupt, where they've manipulated things that are far more overt, like on the ground or on the water. Do you remember when Stephen Hawking's went out and they were literally manipulating the laser tests on the lake? Do you remember that?
That was fucking criminal.
Yeah,
that was right. Really. Proper mainstream, about as mainstream as you can get.
Yeah.
But that was criminal, man. There was an educated, you know, a guy that, you know, his words hold weight. That was fucking disgusting. When you look back at that, that was pure deception, man, coming from.
Well, how do we know it was actually Stephen Hawking? They could have just used his voice. He may have not known anything about it. I mean, I could generate Stephen Hawking's voice and pretend to have a conversation with him. Would people believe that? But people automatically assume, well, he was accredited on the credits with that program. But how else could you actually indoctrinate people and wheel out a robot and get him to say something through a computerized voice? How do we know it's his words? Somebody could have been typing those in for him. We don't know.
Yeah,
that's using him as a frontman figure because he's the professor. He's the guy that wrote this book and everything. He's just a stool or what do you call it? A stooge. Sorry, he's a stooge For all we know, he could have passed away peacefully years ago, and they're just wheeling another one out.
I will look at these new sex robots you can buy. The animatrix that they've got the tech. He could quite well be a fucking robot with a prosthetic, you know, with the face and everything, man.
I wouldn't buy one, to be honest, because I think personally they might need more maintenance.
Hey, listen, did you? Right, here's a disgusting thing for the way Britain's going. We're all from the island. We're all from that area, right? On a Good Morning show, you should type in Google Good Morning sex robot on the television. Now this is morning television. You had a guy that had a sex.
I've seen it, yeah, I've seen it.
Did anybody see that?
Yeah, I did.
Has anybody fucking? I know you've seen it, Chris, but has anybody else seen that? That fucking they had a sex robot.
What's all that about?
Good Morning Britain.
And his kids knew it was a robot as well, didn't they? His kids.
Oh no! Well, this guy got arrested. Well, they're inventing that, but a guy's actually got arrested for ordering one of them in Britain. Check that one out. Man arrested for ordering a child sex robot. A guy's got done for it. I think it was either in
Good
Britain,
Morning sex robot.
No. Yup. Man arrested or man charged with buying.
Right, I've typed in Good Morning. I've typed in Good Morning sex robot.
Mm-hmm.
Right, here's the image. Here's what I'm getting. Right, so what do you want me to look for? I'm on Google.
Oh, wait a minute, let me find this. I'll find it in a second here.
That's it, the top one. Holly and Philip meet Samantha, isn't it? Or is it the married?
I don't know. You need.
Yeah, there's a video here if you want to see that.
Oh yeah, because he's got kids. He's actually got kids.
Yeah.
He's got kids in that, and his kids know it, and they say, "Oh, where's Sandra? This is
Samantha.
serious." So let me find this. His kids actually fucking know that he's got this.
There you go.
Have you got it?
No, I've got. Hold on.
That was it. Let me see if I can find this. It was. I was like, come on, man.
I'm playing it, Ali.
Oh, you're playing it. Cool. It's not coming up though.
You're seeing it, so.
All right, cool. Get a.
Oh, you need to hear as well. Hold on.
Out,
How much are they then?
£3,000.
I can give you the special discount code as well.
I got one. I got one. It was so realistic. I even caught a dose off it.
She, like I say, you can talk to her, so you can interact. You can tell her you love her. She'll respond,
and she'll say this:
"I love you too."
And then she might go on to say,
"Do you think we could get more sensual?"
And then,
"I can take many times much more love, just because you can give it, and I take it all."
Oh, then I didn't like to interrupt her then, but in full flow. I mean, it's a bit like making love to a car GPS, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. Humans love human form. So, obviously, I think she's very beautiful. Would you agree she's beautiful?
No.
She's a doll. I mean, it's not. It's the thing is you can't.
It's not showing.
I mean, I know the one thing that's different about her also is her skin texture.
Yes.
And this is something that we've all seen those blow up dolls, which are very plasticky and very unrealistic. And she has special skin meant to feel like human skin to the touch.
I don't know how much you know about sex dolls, but if you look, not much, maybe not much. Okay, I'll explain. The vast majority of sex dolls either come from the US or China. In general, they're all one color, so the texture. It's actually like real skin. It's not. It's ingrained with the different textures. It's not one plain color, which all the other sex dolls on the market are.
Right.
When she was brought in this morning and Holly and I were introduced to her, I did actually touch her arm.
Right,
and this is me.
That'll do. But that'll do. Yeah, that's a sex thing. Back onto the subject, Ali. Fucking hell. Yeah, that was crazy.
Why were we watching a video about sex dolls?
Somebody mentioned sex dolls.
We were talking about the fucking absurdity of what was actually going on in this fucking crazy world that we're fucking living in, and how people are getting, how this has just come out.
Now you have to ask the question: why would they show that on primetime TV? Why would they show it?
What about the guy?
Why entertain it?
He's actually giving the thing one on public television. It's just, all of that was wrong, deeply wrong.
Yep. That's right.
That's what I'm talking about, the implications of it. It's all got to do with flat earth. We live in a fucking flat earth. It's all relevant. Any news at all is fucking flat earth news, man.
Yeah, it's not just about flat earth. It's not just about flat earth. It's all about how we're getting fucking conned and how the deception. The deception is not just flat earth. Once you get to flat earth, okay, once you actually pick through all the deception and all the fucking lies that you've been fed, then you get to flat earth. Okay, and then once you get to flat earth, you need to backtrack and you can see all the fucking shit that's getting fed to you all the time in the media every day. Martin picks it up. He picks it up all the time. Nathan, you're not interested. Ollie, spot on. You're in there all the time. Pete, he's on a tangent. He can give you even more than what you want to can. Chris, good bit of psychology and a good bit of logic when he talks. Perfect stuff. Okay, no problem at all. So this is what the Hangout is all about. It's about getting the people aware of the deception that's out there. The deception is not just flat earth. The deception is far more than that and everything. And that's why it's important to talk about these things. And
that's part of it anyway. The dialectics of play, you know, fucking getting people to have sex with something that's not even a person, which is just driving us away from love and who we are anyway. So you're bang on. It's all part of it. This giant conspiracy to keep us down as human beings is just not the shape of the earth. It's what we are. That's the biggie, you know that, guys. If they don't want us to discover what we are, and when we do, and we are thoughts create reality, the world is our oyster.
I'll be back in a sec.
This construct is deeply fucking deranged. It's bad. That shit is just nuts, isn't it? But it's going that way. The next fucking generation of coppers will probably be automated. I can see Robocop in the future, can't you? Or semi-automated, maybe. I can see that on the horizon.
They've got them in Saudi Arabia. They've got a new, I think it's Saudi Arabia or Qatar, I think it is. They've already.
Like that, is it? And it runs really quick. Is it that one, Ali?
Oh, no. That's DARPA that's got that. That's DARPA that's got that.
That's scary. Imagine that chasing you. And they tell you what, they can go up and down.
Hold on, Martin. Tell us all about it, Ali. That's news on me.
Oh, it's wicked. Nathan, you'll love this. Oh.
What one? What are we talking about? The
Robocop.
No.
Oh, the Robocop. Right. Well, in Qatar, they've got them in shopping malls now. But if you just Google it, robo policeman, I think it's Qatar. You'll have a look at the pictures, and it looks stupid. It looks like a fucking white Dalek. It looks really cheap.
Oh no!
And it does. And all you can do is report complaints to. You know, it's just that's kind of started it. But they're going to get people used to having these. This is all it is. It's like predictive programming. It's getting people get used to having these.
Yeah.
Now, what Martin was talking about. Now we're talking scary stuff. There's a thing called Cheetah that DARPA produced, and they made this thing, and it runs at I think it's like about 45 miles an hour. They've got another one called Big Dog, and you should see this thing chasing after you. It's like what
creeps you out, honestly. And you can't. I've seen it jumping over a fence that a horse jumped over. I've seen it running up a hillside. No way it's going to fall over. These things like are indestructible. They carry armaments.
Yeah.
You know, explosive grenades.
And the processors, the microchip or the processors that they have to have in these machines to on that kind of scale with the balance of gyroscopes, it must be these processors that have got are fucking phenomenal. They're so fast. It's a great piece of engineering. I'm impressed with it when I see it. I think this is fucking amazing. I'm so glad I'm around to see, because I've always liked my tech.
Yeah.
And it's amazing shit and understand it. But it just looks scary as fuck, because they're going to turn it on to us, you know?
Yeah,
do you not see it as being a bit more like Minority Report, where they've got like just a bit like 1984 but scaled up. So you've got like monitors everywhere and then retinal scanners everywhere, and then if you do something wrong, just a screen comes up with a head. In other words, there's no physical robot, there's just, in the same way we have got that now. We've got monitoring stations in Leamington, we've got shitloads of them, but we've got CCTV monitoring us and listening posts. So you've only got to scale that up further, and you end up with, you know, it might even be that the hologrammatic policeman appears in front of you, but literally it would be like an external thing that just scans you and recognises that you're doing some crime. There was another one that had that with precogs that had the same actor, Tom Cruise, in it. I've forgotten what that one was, but it was...
That was Minority Report.
Was it the same one? It was Minority Report, wasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, there we go. That's what I envisage in the future, them scanning your eye and figuring out what you've done, and then, you know, some automated process to shuffle you away into a van.
Well,
you know, put this stuff into movies, because last year I watched Logan and it was set in the year 2029, and they had automated freight lorries with basically no drivers, driverless freight. And literally last week they basically started a new project, and they pioneered the first ones in the UK and tried them out a couple of weeks ago. I was picking up on it. A year ago they put it out.
For the last 6 years, Mercedes have been driving about the autobahns of Germany with them vehicles, right? And I heard that story as well. I thought, because I've got a thing, right? Well, transport, the movement, because I used to transport furniture all over Europe.
Oh, right.
Down the south of France.
Yeah. Why are you near a moderator? My God.
And the thing is that transport's a huge industry. And then I picked up this story, and they've, as I say, Mercedes have had self-driving lorries testing the roads in the autobahn for the last 5 years. And there a couple of weeks ago, they said they're sending them across to Britain and they're going to test. But the thing is, if you remember about the self-driving cars, they put them in Greenwich, near south of London, in Greenwich, or Greenwich if you want. 2 or 3 years ago, they had these things, have been driving about there for 2 years maybe. The self-driving cars in Greenwich.
We got driverless taxis here in Cardiff, like Johnny Cabs.
Do you remember who predictively programmed us for this? It was Simpsons. So Simpsons had Homer kill off a guy by eating too big a steak, and he was a trucker. So for some unknown plot reason, they had to take over his job as a trucker, and they quickly realised that there was an automated system for driving the trucks, and the truck drivers come after them because they're like, don't tell anyone that the trucks drive themselves, because we'll be out of a job.
This is what's happening. What they're saying is all these robots. I mean, you've got robotic hotels that you can go into a hotel now in Japan, and you won't even speak to a human. And you've got restaurants. You've got bars now. I mean, the transport's big. They've already got boats that sail around here autonomously. Big, huge fucking freight carriers already with maybe 2 of a crew, 3 of a crew, but it's all guided. It's all only when they get into the docks or come near the docks, the pilot takes over, the guy that knows the lay of the land. How deep the water is, where the trouble is. They have to get the pilot, but the rest of the time it's just basically sailed automatically. It's just an automatic system. They've already got that, and they'll bring that in. They've got hotels, restaurants, and what will happen is, they say their argument against this logic, just people will retrain to. But as Chris already knows, 3 guys can look after a whole fucking factory. That a database or a computer system or whatever, the system to run, 3 guys can do that, and robots can do the rest of the work. And when you retrain, how accessible is it going to be to people to retrain? How much is it going to cost to retrain for a job? Because the transport industry must be millions and millions of employees worldwide, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, go back to early 90s when I was on holiday, and I drove down to the south of France in my old Triumph there, and I was staying in these hotels. Now, this has got to be at least 1990. I remember it well, 1994, because my wife was pregnant at the time. and daughter was born in December. So that summer, I was traveling down to the south of France, and there was a hotel chain called Formula One. These units are probably they were just basically a big square block, and you could turn up at any time, put your credit card in, and dial in, and put your number in, and book a room, and say you want breakfast, yes or no. And once it took the payment, you'd get your printout with what room number you're in, and with the key code for that room. So then by the time you get to your room, your key code, in you go, you stay the night, you get up in the morning, all the breakfast is laid out there, you hand in your ticket or whatever, and there's somebody there just to do the breakfast, as it were. And that was going back like 23 years ago. So what they probably had set up there was a unified system. So they had the same hotels all over France. You could just pop in if there were room, you could stay. And then probably everything was done over the PSTN or the telephone network, where everything was controlled. But now, if you move on, everything it's all probably done by sort of wireless communication, over the network. So you don't even have to hardwire a unit. You just plonk it down, set it up, put in the communication systems, and away you go. It's probably a lot easier now. But going back to that technology 23 years ago, when I thought about it, I thought, wow, this is so great. This is brilliant. I don't even have to interact with anybody except for the breakfast in the morning. But and you move on sort of like quarter of a century, and we have all the wireless communications and everything that they're going to bring in about personal communications and the interaction that we have. We don't really have to communicate with people as such to buy things. We're all doing it online as it is. We don't have to meet anybody. And what you have to remember, what's coming up now is the 5G networks, which is going to be a wider bandwidth. So you'll have all this automation there. And what scares me behind it all is that you're going to have this AI, which is controlling everything. So basically the AI, they say artificial intelligence with these algorithms, it's going to be a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to develop itself in terms of efficiency. So it'll actually alter the system itself the more data it gets to make it more efficient. And what tends to happen with this AI synopsis, if you like, is that it's supposed to interact with the human to make it more efficient. But what I think it's going to end up doing is actually this AI is going to actually end up interfacing with the human bio regarding scans and your bio, and you've got your fingerprints and your face and your maybe your retina prints. So you'll be able to walk into a shop and they'll know exactly who you are and what you're doing in any given time.
Have you seen the current interaction version of this, or what the public gets shown as the current version with Watson from IBM?
Well, the advertising things that shout at you saying you like so-and-so, apparently.
Yeah.
Used. Yeah.
Say again, Martin, I didn't catch that.
Well, they're supposed to be advertising placards which can facial recognition certain people who are wired into this certain grade and anticipate what you like and alter the advertising board to a product that would suit you, apparently.
Yes, 2 years ago I was talking about that. It was one of the first videos I made was about that. So they had it in the New Street Station. So above New Street Station in Birmingham, they've got this, it looks like an all-seeing eye, and it's got cameras on it that literally detect, I assume they just say it detects your gender and age and then advertises to you appropriately. But now they're up and down the country. They've got them in, my local gas station, petrol station to us in the UK has got one of these actually when you walk in. So there's these, they just look like a monitor, it's just a display with a camera to the untrained eye. But what it's doing is it's scanning you and then advertising to you appropriately. So yeah, you definitely have this technology now. We've also got interactive artificial intelligence with Watson. It's scaling predictions to the point where it's giving the example I got, which was about a year ago, so this is a bit sketchy for me, was like you'd have somebody with an illness and you could ask Watson what the best course of treatment would be, and it would analyse the outcomes, but it wouldn't necessarily just go based on the statistics that had gone before. It would factor in many more things. I'm not going to try and detail what, but it might end up going for the thing that's got a 2 to 3% statistical likelihood of success for a given patient based on huge amounts of data that it's analysing. It gave all sorts of other examples, but it could also do things like list things in a positive or negative light. So you could say, tell me how flat Earth would implicate the masses if they were to find out, and put that in a positive light, and then it would analyze all the data and give you all the positive potentials. And then it could do the complete opposite. It's like you trained actor that gives you the two different sound bites. You know, yes, I think Britney Spears is wonderful. Oh, I think Britney Spears is terrible. You know, it could do that for you, but with a given scenario, and predict outcomes. So that's what we have now. But when I say what we have now, that's what we're being told we have now on advertising. So Watson's like common now. I assume most people know about it because it's advertised on mainstream TV to promote what IBM can do.
Well, IA would have to have an accurate representation of reality, surely, if it was like if it existed, or even high-end processors, they would have to have an accurate representation. So they'd have to know that it was flat and the whole world's under a great deception, surely. Would you think?
I don't think it's assessing in these terms. I mean, you presumably could ask the question.
Too big. And out there.
Welcome back, Pete.
Martin, I absolutely think everything that we're finding out now about both ourselves and the workings of the Earth around us is all well known, so any supercomputer there would be have open access to all of this different information, and it's easily inferable as well. I always say the Earth is always known flat and stationary. Once you get there, then a whole new world of wonders opens up in a sense. And I guess we're talking about all this stuff, but we also have to sort of take into account ourselves and the context in which we find ourselves on this flat Earth. All these new questions pose themselves, and we've done away with the idea of evolution. So therefore, implications have been on a creation. There is a creator, and there's implications, and as they apply to each of us as regard to our capabilities, or against at least our potential capabilities. So I think we're going around in blind for the most part. And it's very hard to make sense of something when you're so close to the animal itself.
Yeah. But we're getting somewhere. We're not as in the dark as we were a few years back, Pete. Think about it. There's answers. There are answers coming out. I know a damn sight more now than I did, say, 6 months ago.
Right. Because everything you knew beforehand, Martin, was all illusion and part of unreality.
Yeah, but I'm still hanging on. Still hanging on, Pete, to that little, not globism, but still hanging on to that little bit of, well, they can't lie, there must be bits of truth in there. And every single avenue, the same brick fucking wall, every time, Pete. I know it's not true, none of it. So where does that leave us, where we are now? I'm trying to find out everything.
I say, and I say this in all earnest as well, we got to go back to our very earliest times, and we can trace our way back, and it's within those times when time had no meaning to us, the truth was fed to us.
I believe it's an artificial construct to enslave us. Time. Outside of this, getting light and getting dark, I believe that there's been a concerted effort to make us believe in the forward arrow of time. We talk about it too fucking much. They will drag it into their fields of quantum mechanics, talking about slices of time where past and the present and the future all exist in that single moment of now. But can we conceive the past? No, it's empty fucking electrical impulses that don't even exist and never will again. The past is not there. Was it ever there? Well, that's debatable. What about the future? Well, we can have sort of inklings and little feelings about what might be coming and little sort of precogs. So I tend to think that the future may be laid out. But is there a forward arrow of time? No. They brought this in. When you study time, this thing was just basically on fucking sundials, based on the passage of the sun going around our plane, quite simple. And they just invented this to keep us right there with their time. So they can get us to work during their daylight hours, 10 hours, this, and, adding in the ways they've taken away. I can't go into the math because it gets really confusing. But they've added bits, days, and taken away to match the equinoxes and for their ends. And the Julianas go into the Gregorian pattern.
Time is a difficult subject, of course, but you talk about the sun, time being intricately related and the passage of the sun. Well, then we have to go back to the simple questions again. Well, what exactly is the sun? You know, and this is where I think we have to take our information from different sources. Again, we've been baffled by bullshit all our adults' life, all our lives as adults. We've got to go back to our younger, innocent times and see how the truth is encoded.
Well, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy. I feel energized by it. So it's the life giver. So I feel that it's a good entity. I feel it's light. So is it conscious?
Yeah, I think what Pete's when he means about going back, when he means about going back, I think it means to go back to that way that we used to think as kids, that innocence, that inquiring mind, that fucking get rid of all that bullshit that what he said. Maybe I'm putting words into his mouth.
I can't even remember being like that.
But that's what I personally take it as. That we should go back to these, because when you look at our kids, they ask questions, man, that blow the tits off you, and their logic is so fucking logic, man. They'll twist you round their little fingers so much. You know, when you hear that inquiring mind, that question, and they're all viable questions. But I think we need to go back to that. Just what I think, anyway. What Pete's.
If you look upon it as a greater puzzle, a grander puzzle, that the solution is there for us to solve. Now, we mightn't like it. I think something horrific happened in our past that changed everything. It changed, and that's told and encoded, I believe, within Rockabye Baby, for instance.
Hold on a sec. How's Nathan? How are you managing to stream my stream? Okay, so you're streaming my stream right now. Okay, but you're not streaming my stream because on my fucking screen, okay, I can see you in my chat. It's Pete, Ali, Nathan, Martin, Chris. But on your stream, it's Pete, Ali, Sheep, Martin, Chris.
Because my view is different to yours. So as a guest, I get a different view.
You're not streaming my fucking stream. You're streaming something that's not my fucking stream, because my stream is what people can see right now, and they can see what you're streaming right now. I've got them both on the fucking screen. So you're not streaming what I'm streaming. You're streaming someone other. So whatever anybody's saying may be getting fucking twisted and turned.
Is there a delay?
I don't know. No, there's no fucking delay. I can show you both. Got them both up. Go look at my one, and you'll see that on the screen, as I'm seeing it, Nathan is there, right down at the bottom. That's the screen I'm seeing. And the one that is Flat Earth United, he's not on that screen that he's supposed to be mirroring. It's not there.
Yeah, so we get different views. So I, as a guest, get a different view.
Look at it.
Yeah, he's on the OBS.
Yeah, but it's not. That's strange. No. If he was streaming what I was streaming, then if he was mirroring my stream, I would be in the picture at the bottom, like it is, or should I say, Nathan would be at the bottom. Look where my mouse is moving. Where my mouse is moving on the screen, that's Nathan there, and this is what he's streaming. He's not up there. You see? You see how that works?
I've said it twice.
This is logic.
I get a different view to you as a guest.
No.
I get a different view. That's it.
Yeah, simple. It happens all the time. It has been happening for fucking years, brother. You get different views when I'm running events.
So he's not streaming my stream. You're streaming what you're seeing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I can't stream your stream. That's impossible. All I can stream is the conversation I get, which is this end of the conversation, which just looks slightly different to yours.
What do you mean it's fucking impossible? I'm streaming you right now, Nathan. What do you mean it's impossible to mirror the stream? I'm streaming you, watching you right fucking now. You see that?
Yeah, but
I'm watching you.
Right.
As
you're discovering, there's subtle differences.
Look at everybody watch the screen. Everybody watch the screen. Okay.
Yeah, we know this. I've been streaming for 2 years. Why are you telling me this? Why are you telling me this like I don't know? And being really confrontational like I'm doing something wrong. How long have you been streaming, my friend? Just because this is starting to piss me off. You're phrasing it like I'm doing something wrong. Well, you just don't understand what's going on. I do. Open your fucking ears and listen to what I'm telling you. I get a different view to you. Simple.
You can talk on there, but I'm not listening to you on the here, okay? So no, streamed for years. Have you really?
Fuck.
Well, fuck knows. I don't think you have.
Yeah, I have. What the fuck? Why are you even questioning this?
Well, why is that looking different? I'm not going to change the subject.
Because
I'm just saying.
Because newbie, you don't know what's going on. You don't understand what's going on. So much so that you're telling me you don't need to mute. Hold on, Martin. Let me just tear this guy a new one a second. Oh, Martin, hold on. Right, you're telling me I don't need to mute. You're telling me I don't need to mute while you talk with your shit mic. You don't know what you're doing, but you're questioning me. I've been doing this for 2 years. The reason I've got a stream going is because you don't know what you're doing.
Okay, Nathan.
Yeah, that's what's going on here. I know what's going on. You don't. So don't question me about what the fuck's going on with my stream. Just try and control your mic. Try and mute when you're not talking. Don't announce that you're disappearing because no one gives a shit. Just go. Simple things like that you might learn after a couple of years of doing these streams, like I have, and why I get a different view to you. But you're there like with this accusational tone, like I'm doing something to deceive people. Like, I don't know what's going on this stream. Well, okay.
Oh, look at it.
So what?
No, I'm not saying about that. I'm not saying that. No, you're trying to change it into something else, completely different. You don't turn it into some kind of fucking shit that you're doing.
No, that was out your leg just now. You went all weird. We were having a really cool ass conversation, and it all took a turn for the dark for all fucking no reason whatsoever. I just pulled out the fucking ether about complete bollocks, by the way.
What's your concern? If you've got a concern, level it. I'm a fairly straight talking guy. If you've got a problem, just tell me. But when you're like, what are you doing?
I showed you. That was what I just showed you, wasn't it? I just says that I thought you were streaming me.
I am.
You know? But my stream on the net has got you in the box. Understand? It's got the. You know when you mirror somebody, you expect to see.
Yeah,
exactly
you're doing it again.
mirror.
You're explaining this to me like I don't know. I understand implicitly. I totally understand what's going on. And I said to you, I get a different view to you. You're doing it now. You're talking over me when I'm giving you the explanation. I understand the explanation. You don't understand the explanation, yet you're willing to confront me about it. I'm telling you, it's a different view my end. You didn't listen, so then you're still questioning it. Try and listen. Simple.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I did. I sort of went there. I've been there already. I'm sorry. I said sorry to start your conversation.
No worries. I'm agitated too, so I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I shit hums. Okay.
Just relax.
He put a stress it will come.
Relax.
Calm. Don't worry, boys.
These are the things I get passionate about. Production quality is important.
Yeah, no, it's not production quality. It's not production quality. It's not fucking production quality. It was misleading the public. Okay, that was my problem there. It was just like, if you're mirroring my stream, then I expect it to be an exact representation of what is a mirror of my stream.
Right. Well, I'm not mirroring your stream. What I'm doing.
Don't worry. Don't listen.
It's broadcasting the conversation. That's what I'm doing.
Yes, I know. Listen, this is important.
Too weird for me.
It wasn't the fact that this is how it got portrayed in the NASA fucking moon landings. Okay, here's what we're seeing, and then here's what you're getting to see. This is Nathan's side of it, and I'm not taking you. I'm not fucking picking on you or nothing like that. Don't get me wrong, but this is Nathan's side. He's live streaming what has been seen. Right, and it's fucked. Nathan is live streaming it. Nathan Oakley is live streaming it exactly as it's seen. Well, it's not really, because the little picture of Nathan Oakley, that little fucking bit there, where Nathan Oakley is in the original stream that is supposed to be there,
exactly as seen.
There. So it's not a mirror. It's not a mirror. Calm down. Let me speak.
But by who? There's a bit of clarity that needs injecting.
Let me fucking speak.
Well, no, because there's a bit of clarity that needs to be injected. You're saying, hold on, let me just get it in. Just get it in. You're saying exactly as seen. As seen by who?
Exactly. It's seen by who? Seen by whoever's watching it. So whoever sees the representation of this is what as seen by you. Well, this is how that moon landing went like. Okay, it's the same thing. That's what you're seeing. Right?
No, it's not what I'm saying.
No. I know you're trying to get. No, you're trying to turn it into me being in some kind of fucking crackpot or something like that, Nathan. Just calm down, okay?
It's not what I'm saying at all.
About how the people are fucking up with our head. Okay, I'm trying to talk about how media fucks with our head. Okay, how this is you representing. This is a live stream. Okay, and as that live stream goes, this is representation of a live stream. However, there's a bit fucking missing. That's that little bit where there's a box there that shouldn't be there. And this is points that we pick up on as flat earthers when we're watching programs, when we watch films. We go,
you're doing a discredit to flat earthers.
There's something that's not quite right.
You still don't get it. You still haven't listened.
We see that.
You're going off on this rant and you haven't got the point. You just haven't listened. You get a different stream to your audience. You're just not listening to this, though.
We notice there's a bit of correlation there that's not quite right. We notice there's something there that shouldn't be there because the live stream says this and the other stream says that. We've got two black-ins. That's what I'm saying at the moment. And there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. So don't stop thinking that someone fucking I've got against you or the stream you're doing. It's nothing against that. I'm talking about the reality of what people fucking see.
You're making it seem like I have got a problem with that. You're still not listening and you're trying to put words in my mouth like I've got a problem with that. My problem is you still haven't listened and understood to what I've explained. He's just not going to listen, Martin. It doesn't seem to matter.
I see what it is. He is saying there's the actual original picture of what was getting shown. And this is something that's mirrored and supposed to be.
No, he's still not listening. He hasn't listened
and when you
at all.
See that's when you go, all right.
It's like talking to a brick wall.
Let's see how it is. And this is how NASA fucks with your head. Okay.
Comparing what I'm seeing and what he's seeing and saying the audience are getting two different things. And I'm saying you get a completely different stream to everybody that sees it on your Hangout. He just doesn't understand. I don't know. Good question. Why does he even care?
Turn off.
We're gonna have 2 fucking seconds. Carry on.
Oh no, it's maybe getting through. Maybe
fucking shut up, I say, mate. You don't know what the fuck you're on about. Look, nothing's going on. We're all getting on like I'm out on fucking fire, and you go all fucking nuts on a piss on a Sunday. You're pissing me off. Shut the fuck up. All right.
Sell, dude. Sell.
A noob, you don't know shit. Be nice, be civil.
I am being fucking nice. What the fucking hell are you on about? I am being fucking nice. I'm trying to fucking bring attention to the fucking. Martin, what the fucking hell's wrong with you, man?
My wife wants to know why you care.
Seriously.
My wife's interested in why you even care.
I'm fucking going off on a tangent or something like that. I'm not fucking picking on you. I'm not fucking saying fuck all wrong with you at all.
Hang on,
what the fuck's that about, like?
Let me jump in and give my
in your show to help you out. Get your channel up there. He's fucking feeding you. He's sharing your channel right away out there, brother. It's coming up on my feed here, helping you out, and you're going all weird on his ass. It's called selfish.
I'm not fucking doing that. I'm fucking. Oh, for fuck's sake, man. I'm not fucking doing that, Martin. I'm fucking trying to say this is how the media representation is. I've got nothing against what he's doing.
No,
I'm just saying that look at how it is. No. I'm fucking saying, look at how it fucking comes out. It comes out looking with somebody. I'm saying, not saying he's doing that. I'm just saying this is how the media can fuck with your fucking mind. Right? Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh man.
Fair enough. It's you're trying to change the subject, and I get it.
I get up if you're enough. If you think I'm fucking against flat Earth,
no,
against your fucking shit, I don't know where you're going for.
I don't know how you get my impression. I think you misunderstood. You have this on your private. Hang on, man. Hang on. You have this on an own private Hangout. Normally, you have the Hangout connected to YouTube. So there's a different thing that's happening here than what would normally happen. You've got the wrong end of the stick with Nathan, and we can accept that, and I hope we can move on from it anyway. But yeah, we can understand how misunderstandings can happen. That's my whole point about us having to study a topic before we jump in with 2 feet just in general, because we're in such new territory. So Okay, let's move on. This is supposed to be a friendly conversation. It's the way I look upon all of these things. I don't look upon it as a production or a show or anything. I know you have a different view of it, Nathan, but that's not certainly the way I look upon it. So let's move on, hopefully, in a better tone. We're all flat earthers here. We have so much more in common than we have.
When I arrived bringing the love and my opening greetings to you all.
Let's get back to that.
Yeah, I'm totally into that. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, what happened? You went all fucking septic. Chill out.
It's all right, man. He's just had a couple of beers. It's all good.
I was looking septic.
I tell you what, you was rocking up at some point. You spunked that, but you can retrain it back now and have a kick-ass show like you was just having. Because you was. That was fucking on fire, bro.
And then you're all this, right? We start from now. What the fuck is that behind your left ear, Ali?
Ali?
I go back and listen to it. Have I went off a fucking point or something? Like I really fucking didn't think I have, Ken. Because I wasn't really, Ken. What I was trying to say was
that's his sex robot.
The fucking. I'll come back again.
Expensive in Denmark.
I didn't really fucking disrespect anybody.
The PGT guy.
Disrespect anybody. Okay.
That was my mother's.
Did not fucking mean to disrespect you. I'm trying to say the fucking. Let's test it. Okay.
So.
Carry on. I'm sorry.
We've moved on then, huh?
We've moved on to how NASA deceived us, and it was a good segue. It was a good segue, honestly. So, I don't know. The only thing I can bring on from that is about exactly that. When you've got different camera angles. Sorry about my kids screaming. When you've got different camera angles, and you've got Dilly Gill who shows this really nicely. He shows that what they show the live audience when they're out on the Mir or they're out on the International Space Station, they've got crapo vision in the studio, and it's shot from a camera pointing down, so you can't see the ceiling because it's all on wires. And then what they also film is a different angle which they put into post-production, change all the fuzzy things that they're having to put in CGI and post because they can't get it good enough live, all those different things. So I think what Sheeps and Neeps were saying is what you've got on the two different feeds is subtly different camera angles. It looks slightly different for me.
Exactly.
So
yes. Thank you, Nathan. Fuck's sake. Thank you. Jesus fucking hell. I got fucking mad there. I wonder why everybody turned against me. It was like fucking hell. Like, again, I'm just saying, this is the perception that gets out. You only get one view. So when you see that fucking one view, that's what you see and that's what you believe. But there was a bit missing. You didn't see the original fucking cast. Thank you. Sorry.
That's right, Des, but you're giving out to yourself for your misunderstanding, you see. And whereas I probably guarded from the very start, I said you're doing this a different way than I'm normally used to.
Yeah, well, what has came to light by doing this? What has came to light by doing this? You know, by the misperception that was just had. If anybody watches it, they can see how that was maybe misconstrued, and we can see, oh yeah, okay. But that doesn't mean to say that the fucking NASA have been doing that, and we're just seeing things that are maybe wrong, and we're not seeing it from right perspective. You know, you see, so it can work two fucking ways. It can work two fucking ways. But what I'm trying to say is just this is how what you see is not always what you fucking believe.
This is a good point, actually, Des, because it kind of equates to what Nathan was asking me earlier on. It's not one piece of evidence that hangs NASA. Just like it's not one piece of evidence that adds weight to the whole idea behind the Dodo. It's a cumulative, collation of pieces of evidence, of little threads, of little strings that connect together to form a solid rope. So this is the same with NASA. I have often said this: the most important question that we must ask ourselves is, why are they making this fakery so obvious?
I don't know what it's stuck.
What is the intention behind that? Because obviously and clearly they could do a much better job. Stanley Kubrick, with these limited funding in the millions, the much more realistic job. So obviously there's a different motivation behind the deception that's been presented to us. And then that leads you to ask a whole different series of questions.
I just don't think they care anymore, Pete. I just think they're like, fuck it, this lot's fucking idiots. These lot are fucking idiots. They won't get it anyway, so that's what I think. They've keyed up and they're just fucking flinging it in their face now, just maybe to annoy us.
Yeah, what was that we said the other week, Ali, when I said to you, we were chatting about something and the point was made about certain aspects that had been put out there, like the SpaceX and what have you. And I said, could you imagine them sitting around saying, this is what we're going to put out next? And you said, no, there's no way they're going to buy that. And they put a bet on it. They come back a few weeks later. Did I see? I told you. No way. There's no way I thought they'd believe that. Surely. Yeah. I told you they will. They'll just believe anything is put out from the mainstream bodies, all out in the mainstream news, and they're sucking it all up. Well, yeah. Stupid, aren't they?
Hey Chris, do you not think there might be a greater story being interwoven into all of this scheme? And it's not just a few guys at the office just coming up with the funniest pranks they can, or the subtlest ones they can.
It's spiritual.
There's a greater story being told. I'm absolutely sure of it. I mean, in every sense. And unless we look beyond the literal, again, we're meant to find all these mistakes. Ali says that they're just getting lazy now. No, Ali. I mean, they could have done a much better job with the moon landings. But they didn't purposefully. So it was always meant to come out. Even from the release of Capricorn 5, was it a few years after that, giving the whole game away. We're being led and set and led at every step of the way, and we've been set and led by people who are much smarter than us, and they have insight into, I guess you call it, real reality. So these are the new questions that we have to pose to ourselves. And this is where I say Alice in Wonderland comes in. This is where all of these basic children's stories are encoded with the truth. The rest of the stuff we learned as adults is all nonsense. And it's by connecting all these threads that we get some sort of coherent answer anyway, limited as it might be. It might be.
I mean, it was quite a holistic question you asked me there, Pete. It wouldn't be something I'd be able to answer in just a few sentences, really.
Well, it was a simple question, Chris. It's a simple question with simple answers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh well, there is a greater thing. There is a greater thing at play, and we all know what it is. They're just trying to fucking, destroy, make the world in the way that they want it. And that's the bigger thing in play. Whatever they're hiding, they know a certain amount, but the reason that they're doing all this science and doing all this is they're looking for something as well. There's something they're looking for. It's a big search for them as well.
Yeah.
They haven't got all the answers, but they've got more answers than fucking us, and they're more clued up than us, but they're certainly still looking. That's why they're...
Ali, we've ruled out evolution, right? We've ruled out our sort of gradual...
monkey butts. I never came out a monkey butt.
But so that leaves the big gaping question then.
You may look at it.
We're talking about monkey butts, but that leaves the big gaping question. Well, who the fuck are we then, and where do we come from? So even though we mightn't want to broach these questions, they're always fucking still there.
The biggest question.
And what I do say is, I disagree with all. I say all of these answers are known. All these answers are known, and there's actually a pathway being laid out for us. And Martin, remember, if we are greater beings, greater spirits, right, that necessarily means that this is a simulation of sorts. So that implies if it's a game of sorts, as Sergeant Pepper always talks about, but then there is a solution. And I think the solution, well, I've already found some of the solutions anyway, to my own satisfaction, and moved on from there, But it does all entail a complete overturning of everything that we've ever thought,
You said you thought Lewis Carroll was not a real person.
No, the third of 11 children, Martin. No, but he's not. He works at Lewis Carroll.
Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and isn't that flat Earth?
It's all telling the same story in a different format. This is the point. But everything is pointing you back to Alice in Wonderland. Everything is. And Alice Through the Looking Glass, most especially. Did you know that there was a discarded 13 channel or chapter? Everything is encoded. Discarded 13 chapter, and they tell you exactly.
To run Lewis Carroll by me, it was Robin Poe. She hit me up with a couple of videos saying, look, he knows the Earth's flat, and he's interlacing it into his novels, and it really does appear so. Even in Alice in Wonderland,
Robin Poe, the name itself, Martin, is very interesting. Why is a raven like a writing desk?
Okay, because
it's a famous riddle. Well, the answer being because Poe wrote on both. Now that's Edgar Allan Poe. He talks about the raven. The raven, it's all connected again. A deeper story connecting to the Dodo. It's all about, that link I posted in the chat there, that talks about the interconnection between Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's, Edgar Allan Poe, the Raven,
Check this out, Pete, right? I got the original Salt and Peppers. I bought this, right, in Oxford Street when it first day it got released on CD. I was living in London in the time, right? And he give you a pamphlet. This is the original. But check out the symbology on it, Nick. You got chevrons. You get this little moustache thing of running past you can see it.
Cool.
It's incredible the pictures in here. It really is so many symbols in this. That one's famous.
Just slow it down a wee bit.
Would you describe that moustache as a walrus moustache, Martin? Do you remember Patricia opened up a show one week with a fake moustache?
Well, the walrus was Paul. I would have thought the moustache, the chevron, was symbology of the chevron which NASA used for the vector, which has got some sort of reverence for these people, I'm sure. So I think that's what it might be. The Sergeant Chevron.
It's all intimately connected with flat Earth, Martin. The walrus is Paul, but the walrus is a walrus moustache.
Look, I got the list of all of the personalities, and they tell a code. You know, you obviously get Crowley in there, don't you? And you know, Lewis Carroll, they're all in there. But it goes a bit deeper, actually.
Well, let me tell you, Martin, that you know about the long-running Sgt. Pepper puzzle. It is a puzzle. I say it's solved. The walrus is Paul, but the walrus is a walrus moustache, which is to be located on the face of Paul in chapter 3 of Alice in Wonderland. Literally, a face of Paul underneath the dodo's wing.
I didn't say that. I know about that.
Right. I said that's the solution. That's pointing up to the dodo's wing, where emerging from the dodo's wing, or the north center, is the hidden hand. So it's via this symbology that, yeah, you can see it there.
Oh, I got a message from Bob Dylan.
Yeah. That link I posted.
Slow it down just a wee bit, Martin. It's your focus.
Sorry, I'm running across slowly.
Your focus, bud.
This is how real history is translated. You see, remember that languages can vary. There's 1,000,001 different languages, but a picture paints 1,000 words. You know, a picture will mean the same here or halfway across the world, and numbers are the same thing as well. So this is where the truth is really transmitted, and the story is there for us to uncover. It's been made known. Why do you think all of these false flags have become more and more obvious? Martin has obviously exposed a lot of them, but it wasn't hard to do, Martin. You know what I mean? When you see a bucket on a train, a child is going to say, hang on, I'm not going to believe that shit, that 12 people were almost singed alive because of that, because it doesn't add up. So it's been made so obvious for a reason. And again, we have to ask yourself, what is the reason? What is the overall game that's going on here? I have my own take on that, but that's a different story, right? We all have our own story.
Oh, I never noticed Leonard Cohen before.
Well, I wanted to, if I can move the conversation along, what you were talking about, Pete, is what I think you're talking about a civilization or whatever. I mean, I thought when I first heard about the more land kind of thing, there was a possibility of more land out, and they were saying there was more puddles. I seen the possibility because it just seems to me that like civilizations have just turned up out of nowhere.
Yes.
So I was thinking maybe, you know, that story about everything went tits up and all that prehistory stuff, that might have been stories brought by people that came from maybe another part of land, if it's beyond the ice wall or if it's inside this area or whatever. But a lot of people have just, a civilization had just turned up, languages just turned up.
Yeah.
And mixed with the fact that, you know, there's, in all religions, there's this talk about a big deluge and, you know, the water's risen. Science will even tell you that the water level of the earth was 190 feet lower than it is today, kind of thing. And that brings back in a lot of land. And that could open up, that could all open up passageways.
Doggerland in the North Sea, connecting Britain with apparently Denmark. You could have walked straight across. The mud flats are still there. They never really, they're always above sea level. The dog
well, I
attack.
thought it
You've
was,
got to
I
find
thought
your
it
way
was
through.
Norway.
Through.
I thought it was Norway, but there is a land bridge. You're right there, Martin.
Yeah.
There is actually under there. There's actually a.
I've
don't know
seen
how.
evidence of civilization there. These people from Doggerland, and apparently, disappeared in not that distant past. I reckon. Ali.
Yeah, I think the history is just it's to imagine. When there was a good thing you were talking about, the thing with the pyramids. You were talking about a couple. I thought I could go and have a look, see if I can get some old books off at archive.org and pictures. Well, there's great pictures from 1880 or something, right? And the Sphinx is actually covered. Right,
I looked at it a few days ago, mate. I got a collection of Sphinx, a file of them.
Up to the shoulders, right? Yeah, up to the shoulders. And I took today's photographs of it, and you can see where they've actually reconstituted, made it look, like totally different. And when you understand it,
all badges on, I know.
Yeah. But I'm just saying for other people that maybe don't. I mean, it was quite strange. And there was a book I was reading there about. Do you know, like when civilizations fell, like for example, some of the tombs, some of these buildings, they even talk about even some of the statues from Roman times. They were even saying they were artists, and they would discover these and they would use their skills to rebuild them. Just like the dinosaur shit, man, they find a wee toe bone and suddenly it's this.
Yeah.
It was this side, this. Like kind of thing. They done that with a lot of like what you were saying about architecture, but also with statues and everything. So I mean,
isn't it funny?
I'm convinced it's remnants of this civilization. All of them are lost. I got about a dozen books of lost civilizations. I got one on the floor there. The Indus Valley civilization, Sumer, the Aztecs, the Mayans. And we know the Aztecs got wiped out, but not really. That's just the official narrative. There's so many missing cultures. Just disappeared on the face of the earth. I do believe, right?
Yeah, but
they're from Ali, I do, because the map they present now. I asked Nathan, right? We went to see the map on Monday, and they presented, apparently in the 1300s, that map on the wall there, and they said this is all the world that there is out there. But it's not. Half the world's missing. The Americas are not on there. Everyone thought that was it. So why aren't they doing that now? They're only presenting shit to us.
Well, I've got a map there. I've got a map there that Antarctica's fucking huge, man. And it comes right up to, it actually touches, it comes up so close to South America.
I got Fingerprints of the Gods. I've been just reading over again. First book's about maps. He does Perry Reese.
Is that Velikovsky book? Is it?
No. I got that as well, Matt. That's
well, that's Chariots of the God.
Classic.
Is that Chariots of the God? That one? What am I thinking?
No, I got that. I got Van Daniken too. But this is a Graham Hancock. But check that map out there.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Do you want me to share the screen, guys? Well, let's make it easier.
Screen with books, it is, and all my stuff's there, and I'm half wrecked. I'm not doing anything constructive. But this book,
I know.
It's gold in there, flat earthers. I'm telling you. Pick it apart.
I just find it strange that, I mean, when you actually look at it, apparently the Egyptians just turned up out of nowhere, and I know there was civilizations. There was a civilization before them. But if you've read a guy called Alfred Churchward, I think his name is,
don't know him.
The lost city of Mu, and
I know about Mu. I studied it. I got books on it. Yeah, it's incredible.
Well, Edward, that guy Albert, I think it's Churchward or whatever. He wrote 3 books on it. The lost civilization of Mu, and others. You should check it out. Check it out. He does a very interesting thing. What he done is he actually said that these people, through their symbology and stuff like that, that they didn't believe that the sun and the moon was it was the reaction. It was the earth that actually produces its own energy through the reaction. So it's not the actual sun that heats up the place. It's the reaction of the earth releasing the energy. The sun causes it, but the actual energy, the heat and everything apparently comes from whatever the atmosphere, the Earth actually sends out. So it was quite interesting. Edward, let me just find out, is Edward Churchill. Yeah, Churchward.
Right.
There's much talk about a time before the moon, where I've come to my understanding.
Oh, I know about that too. Yeah, Mucha Kradu, the shaman, he said that there was a time without the moon because this is a purely oral language. He's a Zulu shaman, and he said that his elders said there was a time without the moon, and the place was a lot more moist and more atmosphere. It was like subtropical at the time, not that long ago.
Nearly every country incorporates the idea of giant trees into their mythology. Now, anything is capable of being faked at this stage. It really is, you know what I mean? I've said it to Jamie so often, the biggest question that faces us all these days is what is real? Really, what is real? We can't rely on the stuff that, you know, we held dear for longest. And it's very difficult as well to rid ourselves of all preconceived notions and ideas, isn't it? It's probably the hardest thing. But as I say, I certainly understand that you just have to throw everything out and be capable of entertaining so many different possibilities because it's such a fantastical, I guess, world, you know. I was just going to say, it's interesting that within the Bible that the pyramids aren't mentioned. That wouldn't make much sense given the official timelines, but it would make a bit more sense if the pyramids were built after the Bible was written. I said the Bible was written in the early 1600s, and pretty much everything stemmed from the destruction of the old ways. I say it involved giant trees as well. It's another leap into the unknown, but it's only a few short 100 years ago that everything was fundamentally.
Napoleon is the key with that, you know, because of his obsession with the pyramids. You don't get much data about pyramids before. I got Mappa Mundi on there. Do you think the pyramids are on there? The significant labyrinth of Knossos, which is significant to this story, is always on there. You won't get no pyramids on there, so they're not there. So where are the pyramids? So. Yeah, I think they might have been a later day tourist attraction.
How would we know? And if technology carried over from this previous,
they just inherited it. I think we're a species in amnesia. I think we know what's happened before us, but it's too horrendous for us to, you know, karmically envision. So we get a mental block. Boom, 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 boom. Can't go there. Too much. And I think they inherited this. I think they just.
I think you can go there if you choose to go there. This is the point. So because we're greater beings, this is all.
We've only just arrived. We got our grandfathers, we got our great grandfathers and mothers. Okay, we go a bit further back, and then it's going to get sketchy. Try going back, say, to the 1600s and see how much info you can get. It's fucking terrible. Exactly, and it's all locked away in their churches, the control centers. So everything, all the info is from them. We can trust nothing. I've been researching the Black Death. I'm trying to go to some land of Cathedral. I want to look at the documents. It was a haven for the Black Death in there. For many people died on the ground. So all the records are in there. I want to see them. If I can. That's what I'm intending on doing anyway. I'm hunting this story down on the evidence. Black Death might be key too, see, because it restructured the whole of, you know, apparently killed, what, 3/4 of Europe and all of the aristocracy and left them, killed serfdom, and then the common man rose up into a nouveau riche, and this is, no, it doesn't really ring true to me, guys. It fucking doesn't.
Martin, just on the island I'm on, I mean, I'm asked to believe that 150 short years ago, there was a population of 8 million.
Yeah.
Now, I see
you got the potato famine, yeah. I know.
Yeah, I see towns and small cities, about 4 cities, 5 cities in Ireland of any substantial size, but I see how they've expanded to cater for this population that there is now, and there's only 3.5 million people in according to figures.
I got a link of this Russian. Oh, sorry. I got a link of this Russian, and Galway's on there. What's going on with our war, brother? Is this from that civilization past? Have you seen it?
What's that?
A war goes around Galway Harbour. Have you seen this?
I should have seen it. I've been up there.
Brother. You'll know what I mean when you see it. It's got battlements. It's like from a time past. You think who, when, and where. You know, you just don't know. It's really old.
That's what I meant to say, Martin. This is where it connects with the Dodo as well. I mean, I looked at the Pieces map and I knew there was a flood. So I envisaged just taking the drain away, letting all that water pour out.
No, I don't see that. I see electrical discharge drying out the water and leaving mud.
Well, more so I was thinking every country and island has a continental shelf. So there's always a big drop off beyond a certain point. So if you drain away the water and you do an outline, then what you get is a picture that's remarkably similar to a Dodo. So the point you were talking about,
I'll have to have a look now because I have got them pictures.
Mediterranean. Mediterranean. You can connect Mexico to South Africa to North America to create the neck of the Dodo. South America is the bill itself. I mean, if you think that this notion is obnoxious,
no, they would be that cheeky. They would do something like that, Pete. You know,
Martin,
in a make-believe animal. They would fucking do shit like that.
But the beauty of it is, in a few ways, first of all, if you think the notion is obnoxious, let's get your Gleason's map that I know you and Nathan have up on your walls, or had anyway, and just turn it so Australia is on the ground. What animal do you see? Or Australia's on the bottom. You're going to see a Dodo. So to think that that the actual map of the Earth mightn't be encoded within the Dodo bird itself, it's not such a big leap once you understand that. But here's the bigger thing. Dodo is inbuilt into our consciousness from the earliest of times on all fronts. I often said that the first thought that millions of babies worldwide, a word that they can associate with a feeling, it's the Dodo, the soother that you have. Dodo soothing feeling. So, you know, it's inbuilt into the consciousness at such an early level, waiting to come out. Every child these days knows as Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson is famous for his does and his dough.
Oh,
you know, you have dough, money. Dough is an acronym from, or just a slang name for money. You have dough, mixed bread, the most basic of ingredients, you know.
God,
John Doe and so many other connections.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see how Pete's brain works. Okay, you can see it, right? Or you can't see it, obviously, but you can experience it. You can tell how, you know, it takes a minute to fucking just. Well, it takes longer than a fucking minute. Let's be honest about it, Pete. It takes longer than a minute to fucking just.
But it's not complicated, Des. This is the thing. But you have to follow a certain line of thinking, and I guess you have to sort of suspend. I don't know, something anyway along the way, because this is how it's done as well. Everything is reversed and inverted. I want to say about Aleister Crowley. Well, look up Aleister Crowley. One of the fundamental reading materials that all his students were said to have mastered was Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. And of course, he was always about inverting everything and mirroring everything. Well, that's exactly what Alice in Wonderland does. That inverts everything. And Alice Through the Looking Glass then teaches us to mirror everything. But there's so much more to that story. And
okay, really, Pete, have you ever heard of the 6 degrees of separation?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Do you know how significant that maybe is to what you're correlating about as well at the same time? Sure. How you can 6 degrees of separation, you can bring it all down. I think it was Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon, yeah, and Will Smith actually was in a movie.
Yeah. You know how you can find a subject, and they can just you can find the links, and it comes down to it. And well, some of them are abstract, and some of them are quite spot on. But I feel that this is where you're going. But it's Pete's degree of separation, you know. It's Pete's degree of separation, and we need to get in tune with that. Possibly.
Yeah. So go back to the Homer Simpson doll, right? I read somewhere, or I heard it somewhere about the Simpsons. I mean, I used to watch the Simpsons with my kids, and you know, just before they go to bed, sort of thing. It was before I read them a story or what have you, and his doll came from the Laurel and Hardy series, where they used to be the smallest chap with a bald head and a moustache, and he used to be like the boss figure. And when he would get upset, he would go like that, you know. And that's apparently that's what Cronenberg, or whatever his name is.
He's got like a handlebar moustache, and he's little guy. Yeah, and he always went
big fat one. He was the one that would always go.
Oh, I remember that. I love Laurel.
I think that's where they got it, because he was a big fan of Laurel and Hardy, so he pinched that and used it for Homer.
Well, hang on, Chris. Hang on, Chris. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? What would you call Stan Laurel as an exemplary example of? Would you use one word in particular, maybe associated with his catchphrase there? He's the inimitable Dodo. That's exactly what he's, a fucking Dodo, Stan Laurel. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't Stan that said it. It was this other character.
Yeah, who?
Because in nearly every episode, they had a couple of characters, didn't they? They had that little guy, the baldy guy.
He was either the small chap with the bald head and moustache, or he was either the big chap that looked like a big ruffian.
Okay, sorry.
Like the big ruffian, you know.
Yeah, the ruffian.
So they were the two add-ons. I mean, yeah, Oliver Hardy for me.
Nasty landlord.
Well, look at the narrative.
Summer holidays.
Look at the narrative of the, I don't want to dwell on this, but look at the narrative of the dodo bird itself. It's ridiculous on the face of it. But the very fact that the dodo is associated with this sort of stupidity, this cluelessness.
Yeah.
It's purposefully done, you know, it's put into our consciousness as that. But like everything else, it's a tale to be decoded. And within these decoded efforts, I guess, you know, who knows what you'll find. This is the point.
Right, listen, guys.
Earth, for God's sake.
sorry, guys. Des, I'm going to call it a night now. It's 9 o'clock now. I'm up at 5:30 tomorrow. So, but I'm going to still be listening. It's been cool listening, man. It's good conversation.
Much appreciated for coming on. Thank you very much.
Any problems?
That's why it was open.
Martin, Nathan, Chris.
Much love, brother.
Thanks very much, guys, and have a good one. But I'm going to be listening. I'm going to be. I'll have it on while I'm making my supper.
It'll help you sleep. It'll help you sleep.
No, it's not. It's actually quite nice. I like.
It's like a radio, isn't it?
I like going on it late night, even when there was other.
No, I do that. Just listening to them
all.
all.
There was bigger channels, even when there was bigger channels on, I'd always go over and listen to your thing. That would be my late night, thing that you're on in the background to hang. So keep it up. You should keep your hangouts.
Hang-ups. Brilliant. I love it. Brilliant.
I'm getting tired now.
That's okay. It's okay.
It's been a long day, but keep them up, Pete. Anyway, you know, whatever you say with your dodo and that, there's other stuff that you talk about that it all links in. You can quite easily link it in.
Pink stuff is rich.
Well, let me say, Ali, you talked about Alice in Wonderland in one of your own hangouts, but you never made it public, so I never got a chance to see that.
I did, but what I done was I took it down.
Okay.
I took it down. There was a reason, and maybe we'll talk in private about it, because there's a reason why I took it. It's nothing nefarious or anything like that. It was there was a certain aspect of it, even though it was about the dodo, there was a certain aspect. As I say, it was about you. Where had you gone, and why is nobody asking, and blah blah, this kind of stuff and that. And there was a few things that.
All right,
I'll tell you all about it. I'll repeat exactly what I say. I remember what the hangout was about. It's not a problem. I've got all the pictures I showed, but as I said, there was a reason, and when I tell you the reason, you'll understand why. But anyway, listen, guys.
Someone else's take on
all respect to you, Pete. Anyway, no matter what the opinions you hold. Yeah, but all respect to you anyway. I don't care. As I say, I don't really care what anybody's opinion. Only people that like me and my friends and that I bother about their opinion, because they're the ones that matter really to me. So, but if you read me, you don't. But listen, guys.
No, Ollie, I respect you, Ken, and I wish I could meet you as a fucking friend. I wish I could meet you personally.
Once I get my passport, once I get my passport sorted out, I'm going to come to Scotland, because my dad's getting old. He's 84-year-old. I need to get back there, and I don't know.
Oh shit! My auntie Margaret died today. My fucking mother's sister.
What happened was my mother passed away, and I didn't have a passport, and I actually missed her. I missed her dying because I hadn't renewed. This is a year and a half ago. I hadn't renewed my passport, and so I got another one. And what did I do? I lost the fucker again, man. I went through about 4 passports. I keep losing them, so I need to get another one. And when I come across, I'm going to come across, meet Chris. I'll come up and meet you, Des. No problems, man.
Oh, I'll come down and see you if it
No problem. Yeah, that's genuine. But
that's like good.
But I'm on a mission to get a passport, and because now that they've closed down the embassy, I can't get my passport in Copenhagen anymore. I used to be able to go there, but now I can't. I've actually got to apply to to Britain, so I've got to fill in paperwork. It's a bit of a palaver.
Oh, I know. I understand. This is all part of the. I mean, I know you're wanting to leave, so I know. But so we're kind of getting into the big debate about it, but we might get into it after you leave. But yeah, this is all a part of the fucking inclusions and oppression that they're trying to fucking tie us in. We can't leave nowhere. We need fucking papers to get everywhere and all this shit.
Well, Denmark's just put soldiers on its border.
Yeah,
there's soldiers now. There's armed.
There you go.
There's armed soldiers on.
What's that supposed to mean? I mean, what's that supposed to mean? You know, is that terrorists or something?
A quick before I go, my mate's in a thing called the Force Farret. That's it's the Yem Force Farret, right? It's like the Home Guard kind of thing that you can apply. You can be a volunteer to do it. You know, you go and do certain events or whatever. And he was telling us his latest training. This is a few months ago. His latest training was for crowd control.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you know. Anyway, I need to go, guys. Thanks very much. Right, see you later. Good night.
No problem. Much appreciated, Ali. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Ali.
Thanks as well.
A little meme for you when you go, because you're spot on.
Same to you, Dave. Nice one. Right, guys. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good chat.
Good chat. Yeah, Ali's good. Everybody. This is why I hold the Hangout open. It's an open Hangout. Anybody can join, and it's all about. Hold on. Come up. Sorry. There we go. Yep.
Can I bring up a topic for discussion? And I think it's pretty important.
You certainly can. Go for it.
I'll just give a little thought experiment to people first of all, right? So imagine getting yourself a torchlight and a little template, a cardboard or something, and maybe cutting a few grooves here and there, a few stab points in there, and putting it in front of the flashlight, and then shining that against. Imagine a blackened room, but shining it against a mirror, a planar flat mirror, and see what sort of you can imagine what sort of reflection you'd see, right? Now, imagine doing the exact same thing, but this time instead of a flat plane mirror, get a big concave mirror and shine it onto that and see what sort of effect you get. Now move the flashlight in little circles and see what sort of effect you'd get between the reflection on the different surfaces and what you might expect. I say that this is what's happening when we look up at the night sky, all the luminaries, right? Now, I've been thinking about this for months, and I satisfied myself that it is the case 100%. Other people have done the same as well. I say when you see the moon, you're seeing reflection. You're seeing this actual template that I've given you in the example with the flashlight, which is the energies emanating from the North Center. So when you're looking at the moon, you're looking at a reflection of this interface. So the moon isn't existing in itself, right? So I speculated that the moon is a direct reflection of the interface of the sun, but the stars are the same interface, but as it's displayed out against this massive sort of contoured barrier. So when I looked at the moon, right, and I was looking for some sort of validation there, I was thinking, what's the biggest thing that we see that's recognizable in the night sky? Never seen it myself. Maybe some people here have seen it, but it's the Milky Way, or the Great Rift. So I'm saying surely surely if I'm right in my thinking that will be locatable on the moon, because the moon is just a reflection of this interface, right? So the minute I brought up a picture of the moon, lo and behold, that looked exactly like the Milky Way, and I was going, it couldn't be that obvious, could it? Anyway, my question is, right, when I came to investigate that and looked in closely, I found that it was an ultimate match between the craters Eratosthenes, funny enough, he comes back into reckoning, and Eudoxus, it's called, it's EUDOX, US. There you have an exact replica, be it sort of distorted a small bit, but it's still an exact match for the Milky Way. And I would like to know what you might think of that, first of all. I know the ball earthers would have a very difficult time dealing with that or explaining that. But as flat earthers, as we're trying to move on in our understanding, how would anyone maybe try to deal with that? Again, it's something that has been verified by myself 100% and by others as well. So it is a reality. And let me just say, the implications of that then are that the rest of the constellations, the 88 constellations, 88, you know, 8 is the number, are locatable as well on the moon. So I think it's a very exciting discovery. And I would like to, and again, to see especially how flat earthers will go about explaining this, you know, because it is verifiable and we have to deal with it as being a part of a perceived reality.
Okay, Pete, so you're saying that, and I said it's all respect, of course, and I'm open-minded about everything. You've done your research, you spent time on this. So was I right in thinking that you thought that this was a reflection? So what we're seeing up there in the firmament with all the luminaries is been projected from the moon, is that right?
No. That's okay. All about the sun. It's all about the sun. If you got a huge blanket, I think the sun is of given sizes as well. It's gone into a different area, but I think it's a decapitated giant crystalline tree that's located at the north center, a lightsaber, if you will. And the sun itself, as we perceive it, is a reflection of this energy as it's reflected from the electromagnetic barrier. I think we live in a big bubble. At least at one stage, we lived in a complete bubble within the waters beyond. Whether it's all a big simulation or not, that's a different question. But I think something happened, collapse of the giant trees, and then the barrier itself sort of collapsed within itself. And we have a sort of distorted shape now, you know, this contoured shape, but and the north center being isolated from the barrier around the rest of us. So yeah, when you introduce light, Chris, with any water, we notice as children as well, with puddles, you know, when the sun comes back out, there's your perfect image in a puddle, you know. So when light's introduced around a watery, contoured barrier, you get all manner of effects.
Ah, for fuck's sake. Are you joking?
It sounds, what do you call it? But I maintain that if you got a big, massive blanket and threw it over the sun at the north center, then no matter if it was a full moon and all the stars were brighter than it, and everything would go out instantaneously, because everything is a reflected artifact of this interface, I call it, of the sun.
Okay, so I've got a few hang-ups about the luminaries that are up there, what they're called stars. And Ali and I herself had looked at this. Ali had found video from some students that had sent cameras up, and they couldn't film the stars at night. And as we know, NASA, all their footage and the footage of the moon, they don't see stars up there. Okay, so it's the question. You know, people have put up videos regarding people saying, yeah, we can see the stars, and then the 3 astronauts say, no, it's a black the blackest black they could ever see. And my understanding is that these students had sent up a balloon flight at night to try and capture the stars, and they couldn't see them. What? So what they'd actually used is filtration to actually see the stars at night, and that's what they did. Now, on the properties of the filtration, I don't have the exact answer. What I know is that they have.
Did you see that?
They used a Sony camera with a Canon filter with a lens. Now, what they did state on their website was that the lens was used to filter out any light noise regarding the moon and anything emanating from the Earth, so they could get to look into the past the atmosphere or get out into space to look at the stars. And once they had managed that on the 5th attempt, I believe, they'd actually managed to see the stars. Now, that to Ali and myself, as we were discussing it, it seemed to say that we only see the stars with our naked eye once we're inside the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So okay. Now let's bear in mind what they're telling us. They're telling us that the stars are stars. They're suns from millions of light years away that has traveled through the universe and hits our atmosphere and comes through, and we see it as it was millions of light years or millions of years ago. They're telling us that's what it is. Sunlight, like our star, like our sun, it's sunlight that we see. Right now, we know from the balloon footage that we see the sun in the environment above with the balloon flight. Now, it's not invisible. It's there. That is the sunlight that we see. Now, they're telling us that these lights, apart from the planets, or whatever, that these suns are millions and millions of light years away in different galaxies and what have you, but we can't see it once we move outside our atmosphere. Okay, so unless we filtrate the light that's coming in. So what these students did is they replicated the atmosphere in their filtered lens so they could see the stars.
Right.
So that tells me then, right off the bat, that the light that the stars are actually illuminating isn't sunlight, it's something else. Right?
Yeah.
Now, let me give you a demonstration, right? A basic demonstration. What I have here, which everybody has in their home, is a remote control.
I was looking at it from the wrong angle, Chris. I thought it was a dildo.
Let me show you the buttons. It's only not.
You keep them in the top drawer, I know.
I thought it was a rocket because it goes whir, whir, whir. No, but seriously, look. Here's an infrared remote control. Okay. Now,
yeah, see light off it if you look at a camera, but you can't see it with your eyes.
You can't see it with your eyes, but look, if I push this into the camera, can you
Yep,
see what I'm seeing?
Yep.
Right.
So that's supposed to be infrared. Now, infrared has a certain wavelength. Yeah, it's in the electromagnetic spectrum. So if I'm shifting this, to see this through my lens, I must be shifting the wavelength into a visible light spectrum, right? Which has a certain wavelength. Yeah. So in essence,
shifting. What do you mean shifting? Hold on. What do you mean shifting? You're not shifting.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's the wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the wrong word to use then. Okay, but
yeah, no.
You must agree then that the wavelength, if I'm taking out some components, I must be looking at a wavelength that's in the visible spectrum, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not invisible. It's invisible to us, but it's like dog hearing. If I would agree with you, Chris, because I do. It's like dog hearing. Dogs can hear beyond what we can hear. It's below what we can hear because this is the spectrum of our hearing ability, and this is the spectrum of our seeing ability. Now you're talking about.
Okay, sound is different to sound is completely different to light.
Yeah, but it's perception of a human. The perception of a human. This is equipment we've got. The equipment we've got is ears and eyes. Okay, and our ears can only hear this much, and this is much. A dog can hear lower frequencies than us, and this is where we come in, and we can only see this much of our light, and this is what you're talking about here. That remote control that you're showing, yeah, I've done this 100 times. It's excellent. It's a brilliant fucking test, and you can show it, and it's like you can't see that, but the camera can pick it up.
Okay, so why can the camera see it then? Tell me that.
This is what you're talking about. Carry on.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So basically, my phone is the same thing. Excuse me. So basically, what you have is on the camera detector. Basically, is something called a charge coupled device. It's a very small piece of silicon. It's been around for decades. You know, they did all the research in the 60s and 70s. It's very cheap to produce. Every mobile phone has one. So if you take it out into the daylight, to protect that CCD device, they filter out a certain amount of UV light and infrared light, so the CCD device doesn't get damaged, doesn't white out. So basically, what you're doing is you're stopping certain frequencies getting through to harm the CCD device. And my USB camera, which cost me 20 quid, I think, from a reputable supplier, it's doing the same thing because they don't know where I'm going to use it. I could be using it outside for all they know. I could shove it in the window. So that it has the same filter on it, so it maintains its integrity. But basically, what I'm doing is when I'm looking at that with my infrared remote control, you've got to agree that the light that I'm now seeing has to move into the visible spectrum, because I'm seeing it with my naked eye now. So what's the difference between that and me filtrating a camera lens up above the atmosphere, now being able to see the stars? Because if it was sunlight, if it was actual sunlight that's traveling over millions and millions of miles, irrespective of whether I was in the atmosphere or not, I should still see it. Why do I need to filtrate it to see the light? Which is basically what I'm doing with my remote control. So that tells me it has to be a different source of light, not sunlight. What it is,
frequency.
Exactly. It's a different wavelength. It's not sunlight as we know it.
Yeah.
Now, I believe, so let me rephrase that. I suspect that NASA already knows this. They have the key answers to that. You've seen all the cameras on the ISS and the footage.
Brilliant.
So they have the answers to this most probably. But if it wasn't for the fact that these Swedish students actually sent up this balloon with a camera, and that they were unsuccessful to record the stars, so they had to filtrate the camera lens to actually record it, to actually see the stars.
I mean, okay, Chris, so you're still sort of in the process of trying to discredit the official story, the official model. And of course, we know that's all completely busted. But what do you think the stars are in terms of your own direct?
Well, none of us know that.
Well, no, but the point that at this point when these students sent this up, as soon as I saw that, as soon as I realized what they were successful at doing and how they did it, it was like an epiphany for me. Well, that said to me straight away, because I know about infrared, I know about electromagnetic spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me that if I didn't have that filtration system and I'm down inside the atmosphere, I see the stars anyway. Like we do every day. You go outside of the atmosphere, you see nothing. Even if the moon's not out, you don't see anything. Apparently, you know.
That's certainly part of the NASA rhetoric, isn't it? They would argue that that's why they didn't have any stars in the images, because they're not able to be seen.
Yeah. Well, then sunlight, surely, you know, is sunlight. We see the sun outside of the atmosphere. So why can't we see these distant suns shining in once we're outside the atmosphere?
I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate them and assume that they would just say that because the stars, you know, Betelgeuse, the closest, was massive by comparison to our stars, and therefore it's giving
Proxima
off a different...
B is the closest.
Proxima Centauri, sorry, would be giving off a completely different wavelength of light to our sun. That would probably be their argument.
But yet they still tell us. They look at the light spectrum and they tell us with the dark stripes in the light spectrum that they receive. They can tell us what those suns are made of. So if they're telling us what the suns are made of due to the black stripes in the wavelength of that light that they've received, it's very Hubble, right? They can tell us what the suns are made of. The Betelgeuse, they know exactly what it's made of.
Precisely, it's a circular argument. Circular reasoning.
The wavelength of the light that's stemming from it.
Yeah, it's circular reasoning.
You have to say then that I'm sorry, that's a load of bollocks because you can't see it. So now people think that the Hubble is taking pictures. It's not. Let's put things into perspective here. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
They're taking images and sampling images in the radio frequency, the ultraviolet, and the infrared. They're adding the color in later. Yes. So who's to say exactly that they're looking at a universe?
Anything at all.
Billions of light years. That it's supposed to be infinite. It's supposed to be this. It's supposed to be that. It's only their interpretation from the photograph, if it exists, that they're giving us. Who's to say they're not actually looking at the firmament?
Yeah, but Chris,
if it's there on a microscopic level.
Well, I think we all know that what they're telling us about the stars is nonsense, and you know, rule it out completely now. The bigger question is, well, what exactly are the stars? And while I understand what you're saying, I don't. Overall,
I agree with you, Pete. Exactly. Don't go off on too much of a tangent, Pete. But I have to agree with you. The things that we see in the sky, okay, were luminaries. We're told they're fucking stars, but they're not. They're not stars. You know, or if they are stars, then our sun is a star.
Here's a.
You know? So if our sun is a star, okay, come on, Nathan, you can explain this. I'll let Nathan come in on this. If what we're looking at up in the sky is stars, then why can't we observe any planets floating around these stars or doing that? Why can't we see any of that?
I don't think they are stars in the sky as they are presented, because the only supporting evidence is
Do you think they're suns?
No, because the only supporting evidence that goes along with that is the NASA bullshit and the paintings that were just pointed out. So there's no supporting evidence of that other than the fake images and spectroscopy. So what else have you got to go on? If you haven't physically been there and seen for yourself, what else do you have physically to go on? The answer is not a lot. So no, I mean,
what do you think the stars are? What do you think the stars are?
No idea, absolutely no idea, and none of us on the panel could honestly say we do.
Okay.
Well, you see, then you can't expect to get a sort of satisfactory answer because you haven't tried to make your way through to understanding.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think that's
not a satisfactory answer.
Well, no, listen, I don't.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon, Chris? We're on to Chris now. Chris.
No, but hang on, Des. Let me just say.
Oh, sorry, Pete. Okay.
I think, you know, once we do get to flat Earth, for me personally, you know, I always said this is an individual's trip, but for me personally, that raises a whole different level of questions that I suppose it's in our nature to try and get some sort of satisfactory answer towards. Let me just say about the sun, for instance. We imagine that when the sun goes down on us, the sun suddenly stops working, and then the stars come in and take over, and then the moon and whatever else. No, that's not how it works. Like, as we rise up, that sun comes back in and it's daylight to us again because we're higher up and we're getting those direct rays. But as it's dark on the ground and the sun is going off in the distance, as sun's energies are still being projected above, this is what we experience as the stars, these sun rays, if you want to call them, these energy rays reflecting off of the barrier as the sun makes its transit around. Everything is in one sense, it's more compact than what we've ever imagined. But yeah, in another sense, I suppose you have to sort of ask these basic questions and try to get formulate some sort of solid thoughts on them anyway.
But what they do and what they are totally different things. I mean, what you're describing is their motions and what they do. And yes, we can all agree on that, but that's not describing what they are in any way, shape or form. Not for me.
Yeah.
Right, but how do you then, well, as you say, then you just turn off and you say, well, this is an unknowable at this stage, so I won't consider it myself, or try to come up with some sort of considered answer to it. And that's fine, you know. I just say that that's not where I'm at, because these things they're all our lives for us, and they run like clockwork. So it should be relatively easy, I should think, to work out what's going on. And indeed, I think it is. It's a big it's a planetarium. You have a central projection system as it's being rotated and reflected off a contoured barrier. And we're getting all manner of different light effects and light artifacts because of this contoured nature of the mirror above. But yeah, I think it's a satisfaction.
So where are these Pete? Where are these Pete then? Are these on the outside of this refractory object you're seeing, or the inside?
Right. I think it's on the inside, and I think that there's the north barrier. We're living a bi-ball system, right? So the north barrier is outside of the external barrier, the second barrier that we're under. But again, that brings me back to my question about the moon. If the Milky
hold on, Nathan, what are you thinking of this?
Well, I mean, my only thoughts on this subject are that the only way to know is to actually go up and have a look. You know, that's literally the only way. So, you know, sending balloons up and testing.
I know that. Look, we're all on the logical explanation of things, but what do you think of that? No, without going into logical explanations, what do you think of he's saying? Do you think possibly, or no, you're fucking off in it, and you're mad?
Why not? Anything's possible.
What do you think?
Anything's possible. I mean, yeah, if I was to find out it was a centrally projected image from, I don't know, the center of the North Pole, then, you know, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. I might raise an eyebrow and go, wow, it's nice to know. But yeah, anything's possible. I don't subscribe to that idea myself.
I know you're not subscribing to it. But what do you think about what you're saying? And what do you think about it? You know, without getting, I think you're maybe getting a little bit politically correct, but it's nothing to do with political correct. It's like YouTube correct, where you don't want to fucking sort of. I don't want to say nothing because it might hurt my subscribers. Yeah,
just give you an honest opinion.
Talk.
Have you read anything about the North Center? Give us your opinion on what you've read, then, Nathan.
Yeah, come on.
What do you mean? What do you want to know? What you want to know? What I've looked into about that particular specialist subject?
No, I mean, you're
a specialist subject. We're not going into a specialist subject. He's just asking.
material, and you surely must have come across many of the different presentations regarding the North Center, both in terms of mythology and I guess current thinking, as it does apply to any sense of a possible reality that we are separated from. That's what I mean by that.
All right. I mean, there are certainly depictions of things at the centre. You know, the information that I like to go on is what Martin has presented me with, because he's physically shown me actual copies that show things at the centre that aren't on current modern maps, which is iffy. That's suspicious. But beyond that, you know, I've got what everyone else has got to go on, which is people like flat water, and you know, I love flat water. Wonderful, absolutely awesome. I'm not going to say anything bad about flat water. He's awesome.
Hold on a minute then. No, I've got some other things I could probably bring up for you.
But we've got off the star thing a minute. I mean, I was asked the question what I thought the luminaries were, and we moved on from that.
Sorry. Yeah,
so I hadn't really actually finished on that aspect. Now again, as we hear from people saying, you know, some people more prevalent in this arena, that you know, science is observation, it's repeatability, and it's measurable, and it's you know, more importantly, it's repeatable. Now, for me, that you know, when you say you get up there and have a look, you know, what are these luminaries? Now, I've got to say, in the first time when I started looking at stuff, I was interested in the cosmology, and I believed it. I had no reason to doubt it. Okay. And I saw a video regarding a star and how somebody focused on it, and it was this it looked like a spinning ball of electrical discharge, yeah. And I thought, well, that looks good. And I said at the time, I think, oh, I know what that is. They're focusing on the light that's within the atmosphere. That's what I thought, because of the refraction and how it twinkles through the atmosphere. I thought that's fine, you know, that's all that is, you know. And I dismissed it. And I looked at another one, and when I saw the other one, I just stopped, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, that's different. Why is that different? So I looked at another one. It was different again. It was different again. And then I started to try and actually analyze what was happening, and I couldn't work it out. But based on the information that I believed, or that I thought was correct, started to dwindle away. And then obviously the flat Earth came into it, and then I started to like, okay, I'm just going to prove this and prove that, and I couldn't. So it was really the stars that brought me firstly to the flat Earth arena. Now, I haven't got a problem with flat Earth. I know it's flat now. I don't give a shit about anything else, right? You can talk about it till the cows come home. All I want to do now is focus on other aspects, to bring everything to try and other aspects. And, you know, I'm a sort of technical bod, so I like to pick up on the physics. I'm not a physics person, but I'm being dragged into the physics, and I'm having a bit of a hard time with it. But anyway, so on the luminaries, what are they? I don't know. I don't know what they are. I don't know how they're powered. We don't know how they're powered. So anybody can say that they're charged by the sun, or it's a reflection of the moon. We still don't know. We still don't know what they are. All I know is the fact is that you get outside this atmosphere, you don't see them. You don't see them. And I can relate that in terms of wavelength to my eye. We're designed, or we have eyes and retinas that tune in to visible light, which is 0.4 to 0.7 micrometers. That's how our eyes are made. We can't see anything else beyond that, below or above. Certain animals on this environment can actually see in the infrared spectrum, perhaps for their hunting reasons, but that's the way their eyes are designed. Anything outside of that visible spectrum, we don't see. So if we're in space, that tells me that the spectrum of light coming from these luminaries is different. And it's only when we're in the atmosphere that's given that we can see the luminaries. And maybe that's the way it's bloody well designed.
Well, what is the atmosphere, Chris? I say it's all got to do with water. So it's when this energy has been transmitted through water, there's that interaction between that energy. I don't think the sun is hot or cold. It's a high frequency energy. And this is why we can say that the moon gives out cold light, but only relative. We experience the sun's energies as heat. As I say, it travels through and excites the water particulates everywhere within the air. And when you take away that air, that atmosphere, as you say, well, then conditions are fundamentally altered, and you end up seeing nothing at all, because there's no medium for it to transmit through, I suppose. and you're surrounded by it in another sense. Sunlight is everywhere, you know, or what we experience is light.
What's your interpretation of space, Chris? Question from the chat from Captain Bullshit.
Oh, fuck him.
No, it's okay. Hi, Captain. No, I like Captain. Come on. He's all right. I know people have got problems, but hey, listen, fair enough. He's prodding. That's what he's doing. He's prodding.
He did a great Dodo.
I prod as well. I'll just say this before you answer, okay? I prod as well. I'm in exactly the same fucking boat. However, I was on a chat with Ollie B. He was in his live chat earlier on. And I was commenting along and we were all getting along fine. Then the next thing I know, I'm timed out. I'm fucking shut out the fucking comment. It's like, what the fuck? Haven't I said anything? And it's like, no. There's no need for that. So, Captain Bullshit, sorry about that. Like, but what the fuck was your problem? I didn't do nothing wrong. There was no reason for that. None at all.
Yeah, you've got to behave properly, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I behaved properly. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. And so there wasn't any reason for that. Maybe we made a mistake with a clicking.
You don't notice don't fucking engage with them. Waste of space, these people.
Yeah, well, when I do that, it's just I left it. I said, sorry, I'm losing the channel. But carry on.
Carry on. Exactly. Carry on. That's what I say. Best approach to these fucking people, if I'm honest, because it's only a load of shit from a sad fucker from behind their keyboard when you actually put it into a reality.
Coming in a bit bad there, Martin.
Anyway, I got to jump in the shower, guys. Now I got some clothes on it and I'm fucking my hair. I want to be clean for tomorrow for my fucking B-day. So I'll catch you on the scene. I'll be in the chat now, guys, right?
All right, Martin.
You're awesome.
Yeah, Martin.
Okay. See you later, Martin. Take it easy. Thanks for coming on. Much appreciated.
Pleasure. Doing well.
I hope it was Dave.
Just a good job.
Try my best.
Peter, you're awesome. Nick, I'll see you later.
Your mic's in a bit, but never mind.
Cheers, man.
See you later, bud.
Bye, guys.
Okay, so what is space? All right. Now, if I was talking to people about space, and I asked the person in the street what they thought space was, so they'd probably turn around and say, "Oh, that's where the ISS is. You know, it's up in space," and they always pervade that space is this vacuous environment, and it's not. You know, deep space, I would say, if it existed, is where you have a vacuous environment. Now, again, you can talk about the sun being 93 million miles away and transmitting its heat out. We all know that heat doesn't transfer through a vacuum. Exactly how our vacuum flask works. You know. Now, again, with the sun, even going back when I was a younger man, a very younger man, and I remember asking a question. I can't exactly remember where it was, but I said, "Why is sunspots black?" Because they're telling us that the sun is hotter in the center than it is on the external, and yet it gives off its heat. It loses so many million degrees before its surface, and so to me, I would have expected the sunspots to be white or lighter than dark.
Yeah. Okay, but we can only, no matter how much, it doesn't matter what color you take. You can take sodium lights, I can tell you all sort of different light systems, but when you intensify it, we just see white. We don't see any other color but white.
That's right. Yeah. So they're telling us that okay, I'll get back to the question of space. What do I think space is? I have no idea apart from looking at the environment that gets higher and higher and higher. And they tell us what it is up there.
It's not white. It's not even white. It's just you can see. You know, it's not white, but you can't see the color that they're projecting. But it's just like it becomes luminescent, or you can see the reflection of things.
But you can see the face. You can
see
the
face. Like Chris, carry on. Sorry.
You can see the face of it when you look at the face of the full moon because it's not so intense, and you're looking at a reflection against What do you think of the idea of waters beyond, Chris? Surely you must have considered that.
Well, yes, of course. Of course, Pete. And the way that some of these luminaries are reacting, you know, even to the camera shots that you've seen with your naked eye.
Yeah.
Some of it actually looks as if you've ever seen a swimming pool reflect light into a room on a wall, you get all this wave effect, don't you? And the surface of those luminaries remind me of that. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it does remind me.
I would say the same too. Yeah, I would say the same too.
It's clearly lights moving against a watery backdrop.
But is that
I'm not saying it's
a reflection of our atmosphere, or is it the reflection of, you know, beyond? You have to go beyond our atmosphere to then see it. Is it our atmosphere that's making that reflection?
Yeah. So the experiment I would like to do is similar to the students, where they took the camera up, but it would be nice to actually get outside of our environment or the atmosphere, get high up with a camera, and then zoom in on a luminary and see what the difference it would be between that and within our atmosphere.
Yes, I would agree with that.
That's what I mean. Where NASA has the capability of doing that. All right. So, and they've done that. So they have better answers than we could ever discuss here. And even if one person was watching this, they're probably having a good old laugh. Look, they're discussing this, they're discussing that, because we really don't know. And if we say we believe or we think, it's not a true statement. All we're doing is discussing it and openly discussing it in a rational sort of way, which is all we can do, isn't it?
Are you happy with that level of thinking at this stage, Chris? I thought this is just an open sort of discussion. We can venture into speculation land without having to worry.
What else am I to do? What am I?
I think you always want to bring it back to what the official version and official story is, and how it doesn't stand up to scrutiny.
No, I'm not saying that's official.
The way I look at it, we're way beyond that anyway. And again, this most pertinent question is, well, if this is what it isn't, well, what is it? And then, you know, that takes you down a different path of question. I think you didn't answer that question satisfactorily. What's your idea of space? I mean,
nobody can answer that. Nobody can answer that.
I think I gave that answer in that effect. Is space is, you know, how you interpret it yourself. There's no real definition of space apart from what was given. And people think of space as a vacuous environment, and it's not. Our environment above us, as far as we know we can go, it still has a certain amount of atmosphere, but it's made up of different particles. We know the thermosphere and the ionosphere. It has different pressures and different temperatures, you know?
You're an engineer, Chris, or at least you were anyway. I mean, have you not tried to...
I still am.
Well, okay, and I don't mean,
no, you used to be, but now you've lost it. Well, now you came to flat Earth, you fucking lost it.
my brain's emptied.
Okay, you know what I mean by that. We've talked before, Chris.
Yes, Pete.
Sorry.
But surely, because you're neck deep into this new world that only 6 months ago you were completely oblivious to. Surely, you're not just going to stop questioning there in terms of your own journey, I guess. So that's what I like anyway when I'm talking. It's just we know that we're in sort of an unknown territory, and we know certain things as well. We know the Earth is flat and stationary. We know the limitations to a certain degree of our thinking, but you know, we can speculate, and by speculating and sharing these speculations, that new ideas can occur to all of us. Because I ultimately believe that we're all on the same journey of discovery for the most part, anyway. Even though there are many actors on the flat Earth stage for certain. And many, but I don't view that in a bad way anyway. You know, as individuals, in order for us to wake up and shake ourselves into reality and our true abilities, we have to be tested. That's the way I look upon, you know, much of this. And the minute we stop asking these very basic questions and trying to get closer to an answer, I think is the minute we sort of settle into that same routine again, you know what I mean, which has got us into trouble in the first place, I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm trying to remember what your question was, Pete.
Yeah.
You asked me if I was an engineer, yeah.
Right, so haven't you, you know, as I said, you've been thrown headfirst into this new world. Haven't you tried to speculate beyond certain confines that you seem to be restricting yourself.
Yeah, but he has. I mean, do you think that Chris FE, do you think that Pete, sorry, do you think that Chris FE is not along with the projections that we think about? Do you think he's not along with the flat earth, or not so much flat earth, but he doesn't believe in what we've been told? What we've been told.
Well, that's sort of irrelevant in the sense.
What I'm hearing is you're kind of picking little bits about what he's saying, like what's that you're saying? Go and clarify that, and it's like, hold on a minute, Pete. You don't ask people to clarify little bits of it when you do quite big ramblings in a well. You know, you go off on big tangents, and you can't fucking. Can I just stay on one place when it goes on to something? So, but he has explained it. He has explained it. I would say he's explaining it in the best way he can. But then you're trying to find another place to jump into as well, to try and cut him out, to try and catch him out or something, as if his.
Try and catch him out.
No, it's not catch him out, but it's to try and judge his logic like it's not as good as yours would be. Or he's maybe thinking along the same line as you,
okay,
and I don't think that's maybe fair. I think Chris, I'll let Chris just maybe have his little point of I'll let Chris just say what he's got to say, just say what he's got to say.
Okay, Des, thank you. I've interacted with Pete before on many things, and we've never really disagreed, Pete, have we? We've, as far as I'm concerned, this discussion, if you question X, Y, and Z, it's fine, it's healthy, because by you questioning me, it might make me think of something else that I would never have thought of. So I never take a defensive view about it. I accept what you're saying, and I always would have hoped that the same thing would have been mutual in anybody that I interact with. I'm not trying to be better than anyone else. I'm just in the same focus. Now, what I bring to Flat Earth is my experience. Now, as I said to somebody before, again, it was probably Ali in a conversation I had with him. And Ali and I seem to just bat off each other. You know, he feeds me, and I don't realize he's feeding me in a conversation. It makes me gather information that I probably would never have in the first place. So we are very, we are a very complementary pair, if I can say that, you know. And I knew from the very first time I heard Ali, I've got to talk more to this guy because he seemed to talk sense to me. But anyway, that aside, it's always a case of
like when I talk in there, Chris, but never mind. When you go,
when I talk about a flat Earth and stuff, you know, I can watch as many videos as I like, and anybody can on YouTube. But what I like to do is, and as I've said, it's that with all my qualifications, I used to think back in the day when I was studying, I'm never going to use this, I'm never going to use that, never going to use this, never going to use that, blah 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 blah. And I have to say, in the last 6 months since I came to the Flat Earth arena, I've never called on my experience and my qualifications as much as I have in dealing with this Flat Earth environment and everything that is out there that I'm trying to deal with. And I pull on my resource, and something clicks in my brain. I remember something about that, and I can just quickly research that and use it. So I have a toolbox there in my head, which I didn't realize I had until I start looking at aspects. You know,
so what's going on with Earth then, Chris? And let me just ask Nathan: Is the guy who asked the question satisfied with the answer? I'm not sure.
What is space?
I didn't ask the question, but what's your model then?
From what I can see,
if you were asked to describe in
Captain
brief enough terms, if I was to do a Nathan on it, in brief enough terms to describe your just overall view as to where exactly you find yourself. You could zoom up and look down upon the whole situation. What's your best picture? You know.
I think you're asking me? Sorry, Pete. You're asking me?
Well,
yes, Nathan. Yes.
Chris that more than you, but I mean, I would like you to hear everyone's view on that, because that's surely some place we've all went. I mean,
Okay. The first part of your question was whether or not Captain Bullshit was satisfied, and Captain Bullshit was essentially saying that
he's never satisfied, is he, fucker?
What he was saying was, I think you referred to it as being inside or outside of the atmosphere. So he kind of was saying, "Oh, does he not know which one it is?" And that was kind of his attitude towards it. But I corrected him and said, "Well, no, he's made it pretty clear. He doesn't know, and I'm pretty sure you did make that clear."
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I'm just going to give a same vague, wishy-washy answer, which is to say I don't know. You know, I don't know what's up there. I've not been up there. You know, I've been up to commercial flying height. And have I seen stars on those flights? No, I haven't. Have I had anecdotal evidence of other people seeing stars, if I get my tongue around it, seeing stars on commercial flights? Then, yeah, I've heard anecdotal evidence of people seeing it. But that's as high as I can go as a mere, you know, member of the general public. So
let me just say, because, and this is what I mentioned before as well, I mean, I think we were all into science and we all had an interest in sort of our origins, etc., before we awoken to the flat earth truth. So what at least I've found is you have to throw in, you have to be willing to throw everything out. So that's fine, but it leaves a big gaping hole, you know, and to come along to a certain point and just say, well, I know the earth is flat and stationary, that's all I need to know. I certainly don't think that that would be satisfactory in terms of my own mentality anyway, nor any of us for that matter, because we just have that urge or that need for truth, I think, and for understanding and context. So that's all that's been required. Regarding my own Hangouts as well, this is what I sort of focus on as well. I know it's not for everybody, and it's just going on a different tangent. And it's making connections where the vast majority of people wouldn't go there. It'd be like coming in the middle of a game or something. You know what I mean? You'd be kind of lost or out of place, and you wouldn't get the proper context. But yeah, the world is made up of different personalities, different minds, I'm sure. But yeah, I would have thought that it is that gaping hole waiting to be filled with truth, I think.
I mean, Pete, what if I set up a Hangout next week, let's say, and all I did was start talking about the Dodo. And then Nathan set up a channel, and all he did was start talking about the Dodo. How many videos or how many Hangouts would it need to be talking about the Dodo? I mean that most respectfully, of course, for anybody to get the message. Now, as far as I can see out there, there's loads of people talking about the flat Earth. There's people talking about governments and conspiracies and what have you. I'll let them get on with it. You know, I don't need to. I mean, I can watch the videos and I can like it and maybe share these videos because I agree with the aspect they're talking about. But I have an opportunity to do my own thing, to do my own, put my own input into it. And the best way I can do that is by using the skills that I have accrued over these last 50 years. And what I found is that I'm being drawn into physics more and more and more. So I'm using my qualifications and experience into the physical realm of physics, and then discussing that and trying to actually show that actually what they're saying is this, when actually they've taken it from that, which, you know, they don't really match up, and trying to put it into a perspective where people can understand that it actually is a big farce. Now, if I can do that, you know, that is a very, very small slight contribution into the whole bigger picture. And the same thing with yourself, Pete, Alice in Wonderland, the Dodo, and everything else that you've been producing, and the moon, and it's all great work, Pete. But what you've got to remember, it's all part of the bigger picture to try and grab as many people. Even Del with his channel, right? He sticks to one thing. He puts up his thing. He gets people to come in and to meet and to talk, and he puts out time and time again. He's there week in, week out, the same message. Now, other people might have got bored with that, but he continues it. He continues it because he's getting a message out. And I have nothing but respect for that. I know there's a lot of ramifications in how people are dealing with this and dealing with that, you know, but the bigger picture is he's there week in, week out, giving the message, you know, and with the interviews and everything. So that, in essence, is adding to it, and it draws more people in. The more people he has, the more people it's going to draw in. Maybe people will watch other videos, and it'll just that little bit that you're doing, that I'm doing, that Nathan's doing, that Des is doing, it's just going to expand and expand. It doesn't matter who's got more views and whatever. The fact is that we're all here doing our little bit to contribute will actually add to the whole flat earth thing. Now you may talk about the dodo. Other people will talk about GM crops and this, then the crop and the contrails and the chemtrails and stuff, and how that contributes to it. And the fact that I came to flat earth through the stars is one thing. Some people may come to flat earth through chemtrails. Some people may come to the flat earth because of the dodo, right? So it all adds, Pete. It's all these different avenues that people are out there. And that's the beauty of it, is that not one person is focusing on everything. We're all different people focusing on the aspects that either interest them or they're the expert in.
This is just a conversation, though, Chris. This is the way I look upon it. And sure, I take on board everything you've been saying there. One thing I do realize is that everyone's at different stages.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you say you're into flat earth 4 months. Well, I'm a flat earther in 2013. So I would have made my way through my own process.
Yeah.
And come to ask questions. And I completely understand that, absolutely understand that. And, you know, the more and more people that are going to become involved, the people who are doing the work like Dell and Eric Dubé, Mark Sargent, excellent journalism, all excellent introductions to flat earth, you know what I mean? They ask the basic questions, they show the basic conflicts between the theory and the experiential, and then it's up to the individual to take it from there. But one thing you do realize as well, and I'm sure we all realize it here, this is our own journey, our individual journey, you know, as men going through this process. And this is only the biggest thing ever. It changes our complete universe. So it's not as if the game or the puzzle has ended. That's all I try to do. And yeah, I've often said that as well on my Hangouts, and I realize that all the time. It's for people who've sort of more been following up, know my way of doing things, waffling on and going around in circles, but always bringing it back to a similar point. But it certainly wouldn't be for everyone. But yeah, completely understandable. And I nothing but respect for Dell as well. He speaks his mind and he brings up the fundamentals, and it's back to the fundamentals we have to go, you know. So yeah, that's all. I looked upon these as just conversations, you know. It's not a show of any sort.
Yeah,
it's even artificial, and so of course it is. This is unnatural. It's talking into computer screens, so you can't get a feel for a person, a sort of a flow for a conversation over a cup of tea or a drink or something. So
yeah,
it's difficult to sort of you know, make up for that lacking. But yeah, otherwise
Shit, sorry. This is about as good as it gets into, Pete. You know, this hangout things where we can actually see each other. And I understand when you said earlier on, right at the start, I can't see your face. I can't see you. I can't see it. And I understand that. This is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
We're trying to fucking speak to each other. We want to see each other. And it's a different listening to voices and listening to music and stuff gives you a different harmony. You know, you can listen to music and it can put you in a nice place. Well, that's what music does. And that's what voices do when you listen to them over the YouTube or you listen to them anywhere. That's the sound you're getting. What you want is the visual representation to go along with that auditory that you're hearing. I want to see the face. I want to see you speak. I want to see your fucking everything about you. And when you meet somebody face to face, that's totally different from what it is, even in a hangout.
Yeah.
And I know you wanted to see my face. You wanted to see my face in a hangout, and you've seen it. I gave you. It's no problem. I didn't have a problem with that. I just had to fuck about to get it to work. But now you've seen me in this. It's no different from looking on fucking YouTube. You know, you still haven't met the real me. You know, you still don't know the real me.
Yeah.
Even though I can see your expressions in it, we're still not face to face in reality to go. You know.
It's the best we can do at the minute, but that doesn't make it unnatural, and that, I do find it a difficult medium to communicate properly anyway. And look, we've been also doing these hangouts. Well, I've been doing these hangouts for over a year, and if you don't get a raging at least 4 or 5 times within a Hangout, well, then everything isn't going as normal. But yeah, there's so many different people, different levels. We're all at our own individual place when ultimately, you know, and no one knows where that place is except the individual. So trying to communicate these complex ideas of the individual is going to have an inherent difficulty, you know, especially across this new medium. But yeah, we're getting there, I think, you know, we're getting there.
Yep. So that's true. Right. Nathan, what are you thinking? Here you go.
I was calling my wife because I've got people in the chat asking for her opinion, why they want my wife's view on these things. I don't know, but she's being asked. Being asked for opinions. Can I just ask you a couple of quick questions?
Nice.
Oh, here we go.
Why does anyone care about your opinion? I'll ask that question straight away to the chat. Why do you care about my wife's opinion? Dawn Treader UK. I don't know why. So, are you going to be banning the subject of flat Earth around our kids' ears? There you go. The answer is no to that one. What was the other one? What's your general view of flat Earth?
Nathan. What was that about? Arcade? What's that? What are you on about? What was that? Arcade. Yeah. Arcade. A child.
Yeah, you got it. A child.
A child, okay. A kid. Okay, sorry, it was too quick.
30-minute video about how real opinions. I don't think you're going to get that. This is going to be your best opportunity to find out anything you want to know from my wife, Dawn Treader UK. So ask now, or you won't get another chance. So I'm gonna.
Is this going to get? Is this going to get banned?
I doubt it. It's just asking my wife what he thinks my wife's opinion. I don't know why he wants it.
But you said that nobody's going to listen to it, nobody's going to see it, so it won't be a problem. Does that mean that something's happened that it'll get banned? On a conspiracy level, Nathan, you know, on a conspiracy level. Oh no! Right, carry on. Sorry, don't worry. I know you're drinking here, and you haven't had enough to drink. Come on.
I like the way you laid it.
You're too busy reading your chat, are you? Are you actually in real time with us, or are you in some sort of delay thing?
Me? No, I'm in real time with you. I'm
actually looking at you right now, and you're like not. You're like in some kind of delay on YouTube. No, and if I speak to Chris and Chris goes, "Hello, Chris. Chris, can you hear me?" Oh, yeah, there you go. Right, okay. So when I talk to you, you're like, "What's happening? Look at you. Look at you looking about you. Look at you. Oh, big smile because I don't know where I am. I'm back on camera. Hello, I'm Nathan."
Yeah. So, Dawn Treader UK wants a paragraph.
Right, come on, Chris. Let's fucking talk about something, because that guy's clearly not in the same picture as us. He's got someone else about trying to get his agenda through on YouTube. Come on.
Seriously? You're going to talk over me the entire time? So, Dawn Treader...
No, he wasn't talking. He wasn't talking, though. I'll go back to you. There you go. I was talking to you, but when I was talking to you, you wasn't aware of what I was fucking saying, because you was too busy looking at your screen, looking at some kind of, oh, look at the comments I'm getting, oh, lovely, or whatever it was you were doing.
So, what's your issue with that exactly? Is it back to this now?
No, the issue is you're in a fucking Hangout. You're not in a stream. I'm streaming. Look at me streaming.
No, I am. Idiot. That's exactly what's happening.
Talking about the thing. No, but be in the fucking stream that you're in. Okay, be in the Hangout that you're in.
This guy.
Rather than be in the stream that you're doing.
Yeah, I'll lay this out nice and clear for you, Sheeps. I'll do what the fuck I like. Don't tell me what to do.
You'll think you're fucking clever.
No, I am. I'm telling you. I'll do what I like. Don't tell me what to do.
I know you will.
You can try and control what I'm doing, but you're not going to manage it. You understand that?
All right. Nathan.
Nobody can hear you just now, okay?
Nathan.
Nathan,
Des, if I could say,
right.
All right.
What you're actually doing is diverting from the actual fucking truth that we're trying to talk about. Right? Sorry.
Okay, what we have here is a conflict of interest, okay?
Right. So then I start getting fucking cocky and funny with the way you're being. All right, just look at me.
Oh, I don't know. I'm bored as well.
You know that we can see through you.
So what you were saying is I should pay attention to you. I should be paying 100% attention to you. That's what you're saying.
I hear you, Nathan. I can't hear you. I want you just to kind of get back into reality again for a moment. Okay, I turned you off so I don't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. I've got my own stream running, so my audience can hear what a dick you're being, regardless of whether or not you think you can mute me. They'll see it on my channel with more viewers. So be a dick as much as you like, but I'll still be here to point out that I'll do what I like, regardless of what you tell me. Tell me to pay attention to the stream, and I'll say, I'll pay attention to what the fuck I like. I'll do whatever I choose. You have absolutely no control over this situation. None.
You just to fucking have a conversation. That's what you did.
No, you're trying to talk over me. So I'm saying, I'm responding to someone in the chat. I'm responding to somebody in the chat. Now you're just talking over me. Now you're just talking over me continually. That's because you are a dick.
Okay, we want to play that fucking game. Okay.
So I've paused. Will you now continue?
A normal conversation. And you want to turn it into some kind of fucking different thing altogether.
I'll do what I like. I've just explained this. You don't listen. This is your problem. I'll do what I like. You're saying, oh, you're trying to turn it into this and that. Yeah, I will. I'll do exactly that. Yes, that's right. I'll do that. You worry about what you're doing. I'll worry about what I'm doing, and we'll all get on fine. You start telling me what I'm supposed to be doing, then I'll get pissed with you and tell you to go fuck yourself. I'll do what I damn well choose. Do you understand, Neeps? I've got control over my world. You haven't got control over my world. You've got control over yours. So you do what you like on your stream. You want to mute me, mute me. Difference is, I've got limited control of what goes on my stream. Now, if you don't like what I'm doing, that's tough luck. Do the other thing. Don't tell me what I'm going to do.
Cool.
Right?
No, that's totally cool. That's totally sound.
You're damn right it is.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Don't worry. Here, listen, I've really got a problem with you. I just thought the way you're presenting it, you know?
What? You thought the way I was presenting it was what?
What?
You didn't finish your sentence. Spit it out, man. You thought the way I was presenting it was what?
Well, it's a big kind of fucking... It's a big kind of... It's quite conspiritual if you was to start getting into that the way it is. Go and type up some shit you're going to type out. I'll go and fucking put it up on the screen if you want. But there's other movements on the go. Okay, there's other movements on the go that are just not quite fucking flat earth. You know, they've got other agendas on their mind. They want to fucking monetize it. They want to fucking sell t-shirts. Want to do other fucking shit. And listen, if you want to get into the fucking basics, so fucking Nathan, right? Why are you advertising like, oh, come to this flat earth conversion, come to this conference, come to this. How much is it? £100 fucking pounds to fucking go to it. Who's going to go to it? The only people that are going to fucking go to it is flat earth people. So who you advertising to? You know, you're trying to take money off people that already know the fucking truth. So what's the point of fucking trying to tell people, come to this and learn more truth that you already know? That's just idiocy to me, right? There's no money to be made in flat earth, okay? So if you want to come into it and try, I'm going to make money in flat earth. Here I am. I'm going to make money in flat earth. Fuck off. Fuck off, okay? There's no money to be made. All that's to be made in this is knowledge and information, intelligence, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, mate. I mean, it's a fundamental thing for me. It's the last thing on my mind about it. You know, I mean, whatever I do at my own expense. I'm just a small person, you know. I'm just on my own journey, as Pete said. You know, we're all on our own journey, and I would say, Nathan, really is that if I had a Hangout, and I say this most respectfully as well, is that if you were streaming it on a different channel, and interacting with your subscribers, I would call that a conflict of interest, because you're not giving your full interest to the panel that's here now. And again, exactly. If I'm on this channel now, the last thing I'm going to doing is having another open channel and be talking to that, because I want to give my full 100% attention to this. Maybe you are giving that. Maybe you can multitask very well, and you're used to doing that because you've been in this for a few years. All credit to you. But I'm giving my full 100% to this, and I'm listening to everything that's happening. And by you having a separate stream that's going on, interacting with your subscribers, I find it slightly disrespectful and a little bit of a conflict of interest. So I'd have to question your method's reason as the reason why you couldn't actually stream this afterwards. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, Nathan, respectfully.
All right, I'm a YouTuber who streams videos. I didn't see that caveat in the chat when he just stuck the link in. Sorry.
Okay.
Did you expect some rules applied when you stuck out the link in your chat, Sheeps and Neeps? Were the caveats attached to your invitation? Because I didn't see any. I just saw the link and joined, like anybody could have. Literally anybody.
That's
me
exactly
streaming, I joined.
That's not, here, listen, that's not exactly what he fucking asked you. Do you want to know something, Nathan? You're coming in like a fucking troll. Fucking hell, man, are you supposed to be fucking flat earth, or are you against us?
I like that. I've come in as a troll. Yeah, you're right. I have.
What are you doing then? What the
fuck
are you doing?
No, I'll play that game. I've come in as a troll. Okay, I have. Yeah, I'm here to troll you. So what? You're going to tell me what to do now? Tell me not to do it? Tell me that what you find I'm doing is disrespectful? The same... No respect. No disrespect to Chris, because actually he's taken the far better approach, which is to say, you know, I see what you're doing is disrespectful, and he's entitled to that opinion. The difference is...
I think the same way.
The difference is... Oh, right. See, what you're doing now is disrespectful. I'm in the middle of a sentence. Do you not see that? See, I don't give a crap that I'm trolling you. I am trolling you. I'm trolling you because you produce shit. You produce shit with your mic coming on and off and shitty pictures coming on and off the screen. I see that as garbage. Hold on, I haven't finished berating you. Can you just shut up while I berate you, please?
You're trying to fucking deflame me.
Yeah, I'm going to berate you with your shit content.
Drag down another flat earther. What the fuck is wrong with you, you fucking idiot?
What, you think you get a free pass?
Same boat as us?
You think you get a free pass to produce shit?
You're in a boat that wants to fucking promote some kind of fucking shit, man. How are you fucking bringing me down? What is your fucking reason for bringing me down? You fucking idiot. Get the fuck out of here, Nathan. You're not a flat earther. You're some kind of fucking troll shit bastard that wants to go in the fucking...
Sure, hang out, man.
Commercialization, monetization, and the fucking let's make money. We've seen you in your fucking big fancy cars and all the shit, okay?
Don't own a car. You don't know anything about me. Don't know anything about me.
Skint and don't want to make money. You're in here for the money, Nathan. You're in here for the money.
Don't own a car. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't own a car.
Everybody's seen it. Hey,
don't own a car.
YouTube. Go and look on YouTube and you'll see the pictures of you.
Right. So does that prove I own a car? Hold on. Does that prove I own a car?
You've done it yourself.
Does you not listen? You just don't seem to be able to open your ears. Does that prove I own a car?
Yes.
No.
Oh fuck! Oh, I know.
Wrong.
No, I can't. I don't own a car either, Nathan. You know. When we get to it, I don't own a car either. I'm the registered keeper.
No, I am. Let me make it more clear for you.
You might start getting into fucking shit like that.
I am not.
I know you're deluding the
I am not the registered keeper of any vehicle. Fact.
Okay,
did you hear that? Did it sink in?
I know that.
Shit for brains.
I know you're not.
Did it sink in? Yes or no? Do you understand the words that I have just said to you?
No, I missed it. Go again. Sorry. Bob.
I am not the registered keeper of any car. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Right, so why are you saying I own big cars? Are you stupid?
So you don't have a car at all? Fucking hell, sorry, man.
Has the penny finally dropped, you moron? This is why I'm here, because you're thick. Because you draw non sequitur conclusions. You draw idiot conclusions from nonsensical bullshit, like me driving around in cars and having loads of money and making money from t-shirts. You're a moron. That's why I'm here. You don't like the fact that I'm trolling you. You can kick me off and look like a pathetic wanker. Feel free. You're in control of the Hangout. That's why I can't mute you when you do stupid things with your mic. Idiot.
What did you say?
Oh yeah, okay. I'm getting in trouble from my wife now for shouting at you.
Again. See that
there you
again?
go, Dawn Treader. You want to know what my wife thinks? She's telling me off for telling this guy off, so I'm going to leave you guys to it.
Yeah.
Right, I'm still streaming on ABS, so I'll say thank you to my audience, and then I'll end it there. Yes, it was exciting, wasn't it? Talking to the morons for a change. Right, let's just do this. So, thank you very much for joining me on this multicast of Sheeps and Neeps. Be sure to subscribe to his channel. Obviously controversial, obviously very good fun to join in with the chat. I've had it streaming up throughout the whole broadcast, but at this point, with my wife telling me off for getting too emotional, mainly about the production values of Sheeps and Neeps show, which I'm certain will improve with time if he listens to some advice from people who've been doing it for longer than he has. But yes, for all who've watched that, I am absolutely in favour of people subscribing to Sheeps and Neeps show, because it is as good as that every time you watch, and it's what got me hooked on it. So be sure to subscribe to his show. Also, if you're new to Nathan Oakley 1980, be sure to hit that subscribe button and subscribe to me, but leaving a comment in the description box or below the description box after this video has rendered. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.